And check, see if we're going live.
Hey everyone, we made it live. Woohoo! Today has been a crazy day at our house trying to get ready for a huge wedding we have going on this weekend. Um let's see, yeah. Am I showing that we're live yet? Oh, I feel like we're always like, are we live? Are we live?
Yep, I'm showing us live.
If anyone follows our Instagram, then you can see what we have been up to today. It has been a crazy day. I gave Cory like this list of things that I wanted to get done. And because we're having a big wedding this weekend, and our son is getting married on Saturday, and our daughter's flying in from North Carolina tomorrow. We're having a ton of family here. Hey, mute up there. Yep. There you go. So I gave Cory a list, and he said, "Oh, that sounds fun. Let me hurry and jump on that and get started." And then like tore apart our house so we could clean it and get it all get everything all clean. So get a slight little small tour of our house
little sister
on Instagram today if you follow our Notes to Self page. So we are in all things wedding mode. So we're probably not going to be posting a lot this week. We did, however, watch Sunday's episode, but it immediately enraged me within like the first, I don't know, what is it, 2 minutes of the show?
2 minutes.
And then I like didn't hear anything part of the show from a couple minutes. And I just told her, I'm like, you're going to have to rewind this because I'm like instantly enraged. I don't think that I can even, like, I missed everything. So it's super frustrating to certain things. We will be doing a live, or we will be recording a video on that. We just needed some time to process through some of the rage that we were both, well, I especially was feeling, and Cory definitely started to feel.
Yeah, we just calm down, kind of articulate what we wanted to talk about.
People were like, no, get on when
the
you're
priesthood
feeling
leaders.
I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna, I need to decompress and like process through some of that frustration that I had. I will never, ever get past people who think that it's God's will for them to manipulate, lie, cheat, and steal and damage and hurt financially, emotionally, spiritually other people, and that somehow God's going to bless them for that.
God's will.
That is the worst thing that I think I've ever, like, I don't understand.
But that's what we grew up with.
But that's what we grew up with.
Society we grew up in.
And I know a million people who think that that's the case. Yep. And it's like, I know that I lied, cheat, stole, coerced, whatever it was to get to where I'm at. But God, it's because God blessed me with that. And it's just literally, it's insanity. And it doesn't make any sense to me.
Australia. Got two of you from Australia.
Yeah, we got
Welcome.
some
Hi, Share Bear.
Different foreign countries here. So
Cab.
Yeah.
We are in wedding mode.
We are in wedding mode. Our middle child is getting married on Saturday, and we're so excited. They got engaged on Christmas morning here at our house. And we're super excited. We adore his fiance, and we just, they built a home together a couple years ago, and we're excited for it. But it's going to be a big weekend. So I've been working out, doing all the things, trying to lose weight to fit into a dress, trying to get the house clean, trying all the things. So so if you don't follow our Instagram, that's up on our Instagram account. We did a cute little video of Cory. Well, I don't know if it's cute, but I think you're cute, but cleaning and doing all of the things.
Oh, I didn't know you did a video of me. I'll have to
go
look
you're
at
standing there cleaning. You vacuuming. You have got the vacuum wrapped around you.
Nice.
So now a lot of comments are coming through about a lot. It is infuriating to, God does not take from one to give to the other. That's not God's work. It never has been God's work. And yet we have watched people in this. I'm sure it happens everywhere. I always get in the comments, people are like, that happens everywhere. That's not just polygamy. I'm sure that's the case, but we can speak to polygamy because that's where we grew up. And we just watch this behavior our entire lives.
And they do it in God's name. That God is blessing them. And that's what the the only reason we were able to be able to swindle this person is because God was watching out for us, and whoever we swindled was not living all the laws, and so they deserved to be swindled.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. Now, if they were close to God, then God would have warned them about us coming.
us.
And since they're not close to God, then God didn't warn them about us coming. So we were able to take
God is
whatever we
Robin's
wanted
real
from
estate
them.
agent.
Yeah. So literally, we're 2 minutes into the episode, and Cody says something about Robin being close to God, and it just threw me. So again, this is why we remind people to do their healing work. Please get started on your healing work if you haven't done. If you're a human with a human body, you've had experience, you've had trauma. What?
We've been working on her healing work this weekend. Scoos Fraba.
Oh my God.
I just calm her down.
Well, part of the thing, here's one thing I'll say about the episode, and then we'll go right into the book, is that I give Robin way too much grace. I know that I do. The reason why I had like a 2-hour conversation with my mom about this last night. The reason that I do is because I understand where she's coming from, because I was that person. Everyone in my life hated me. I hated me. I look back on those days and I hated myself. I was a horrible person, but I felt 100% justified because I had God on my side. And so that's why I try to give Robin some of the grace that I do, but it's so not deserved. It's not deserved grace. And I'm tired of I don't feel like I defend her, but I'm tired of trying to see her point of view when she's just genuinely a terrible person. And Cody Brown is genuinely a terrible person. And they think that it's God who's there blessing them. And it's just, no, it's because you're a liar, a cheater, you're a thief.
And that's exactly how she was raised up and trained by her mother. So, Robin and Cody are not exceptions within the AUB. They are the normal of AUB thinking and thought pattern. So,
right.
Everybody does it.
So yes, we have done a ton of deconstructing. We have done a ton of healing work, but this show brings up so much shit that we're just like, well, guess we got to heal that. Well, guess we got to look at that. And I will honestly be working on taking the grace that I try to show Robin out, because she doesn't deserve it. And these people are now sitting in this $2 million home,
2.1,
where Janelle lives with her daughter. And it's disgusting. These people are horrible people.
Janelle lives with her daughter.
She does. Janelle lives with Maddie.
Oh, okay. Carolina. Yeah, but they've gone out and built their stuff. That's what's unique is you see the worker wives, those wives who are working super, super hard.
Yeah.
And putting into the family, creating stuff for the family. But they can, you know what, we're done. We're leaving. And they go on to build and create again. You know what I mean? And Cody and Robin don't have that ability. They had to use and manipulate those wives, store up the money that was coming in because of them. And they're still getting paid by the show, but that's as soon as that runs out, they're both done. They will have to do business incognito, because nobody will care to do business with them.
And
after watching this, that should be buyer beware on working with Cody and Robin in the future. So I won't be investing in any of their pyramid schemes. So
I hope that TLC, they are torturing us watching these fake bullshit scenes between these two that are pre-planned. And I hope that they give us, because they force us to watch some of this crap, then I hope that they give us the pleasure of watching the downfall of these two when they lose everything, because I think that they will. So
I don't know. I think they should still be on at least for another couple of years, so that we can watch Robin leave Cody too. So that would be cool to watch.
Well, and honestly, when I left religion, the way, back in the day when I left religion, I was 25, 26. I had to do a lot of soul searching, and I had to go apologize to a lot of people, siblings, family members, that I felt like I had done wrong in my self-righteousness. And I hope Robin sees that one day. I don't know that there's much hope for this woman, but I just think she's a horrible human being. And I am just like, last night's episode just shot me over the moon. I was just so angry, or I guess it was Sunday night. So I talked to my mom for like 2 hours last night. I'm like, how do you feel? Like, I don't care what you think about the episode. How do you feel about that episode? And my mom was just, she's like, I don't know. I'm still processing it myself, because my mom was one of the worker bees that got taken advantage of by the other wives and her husband. And my mom's house was one of the houses that got sold so that the big, huge mansion could be bought. So the 7,000 square foot on 2 acres in Draper, Utah, which now back then was not considered a very nice city. It was farm country, but now it's one of the most coveted cities in Salt Lake, in the Salt Lake Valley. And my mom's home got sold, and the equity from my mom's home went to buy that little mini mansion for other wife. So yeah,
God was blessing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it makes me enraged when I watch it, because
they pray to Loki or something.
Yeah.
Mischief god.
Yeah. So. The mischief god. So we right now we have it scheduled to go through 24 through 29. As we were going through these chapters again today, 29 has so much juice in it that we're not sure if we're going to get through all that whole thing, especially because I just ranted for 10 minutes about the whole episode. But so I'm just prepping you guys right now. There's so much in chapter 29 that I literally was like with the highlighter pen highlighting the entire chapter going, oh my gosh, we're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about this. So I don't know if we're going to get to chapter 29. Let's just see how far we get tonight. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all for, so many of you have, thank you guys for buying the sweatshirts and stuff that on our shop. You guys are amazing. We really do appreciate the support. We are going to have other designs and stuff coming up soon too. We just been a little preoccupied with everything wedding. And
the chapstick, whoever bought that chapstick.
I know. Awesome. Somebody goes, I just have to read this one. I just caught my attention. I pray that they don't go on Naked and Afraid, because they're gonna get the B-list reality show people who go on all the other reality shows. That's hilarious. Yeah. So okay, so we're gonna go over chapter 24. Corey's got got some notes.
He might get down low enough to show his priesthood off on Naked and Afraid.
I still don't think anyone will touch his priesthood.
Well, I know, but it'll just be a little tiny fuzzy dot. So he'll be good covering his priesthoods easy. So.
Can we make fun of people's priesthood on this show?
We can all the time. So.
Oh, I know. I was like, oh gosh, here we go.
His priesthood is diminishing with his wives. So
yeah. Oh, and then Cam, thank you so much for pointing this out. Holding Out Hope is having a fundraiser coming up. They are. They're going into one of the heaviest times of year where they need additional services and help. I just spoke to the owner of Holding Out Help the other day. We had a really long conversation, and where we can connect with them, where we can try to help them and help fundraise with them for the holiday season. So I believe they have 2 of them coming up in this next couple of weeks. And then also they have, they're going to have one here in Salt Lake, and Cory and I will be at that fundraiser. We will be going to that one too. So I do appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up. And somebody says, no, Cory, the priesthood exposure. We're gonna literally make fun of this forever. I have so much snark coming out of me from this episode on Sunday. We couldn't even make the video. We watched it right away. We have 3 pages of notes, but I just was like, I need to calm down so that I don't get on there and just be a total ass. But anyways, okay, so we are on chapter 24. You just love people. What I love so much about this chapter is I feel like this is the way that my mother raised her children, is you just love people regardless. My dad would get so frustrated with my mom because she would be out in the dirt toiling with the common folk, and does she not know who she is? She's royalty in the polygamous group. She needs to be in the temples. And my mom would say to my dad, in the afterlife, I would rather be in the gardens toiling in the mud and the dirt with real people than be in the temples with the, what are they called, with the fakes and the
hypocrites.
Yeah. So. The hypocrites, the liars, and the thieves. And so my mom's like, if you find me in the field, I guess that's where you'll find me. But that is the number one thing I remember my mother teaching us growing up, is you just love other people.
Yep.
But she starts this chapter out, which I thought was really interesting, because a lot of people came up to us and had made in our comments that Robin was the one suggesting that they don't wear their garments anymore. She doesn't really come out and say that in this chapter. She kind of alludes to it a little bit, but she doesn't come
Just
out
so it
and
was
say.
brought up, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
By Robin. We need to discuss what we're going to be doing with our garments. So
Right. And so I don't know if Robin is the one who told everybody, hey, let's stop wearing our garments. That is a huge indication that somebody is now apostate and now has left the church. I'm curious. I wish that she had a time stamp on this of when this happened, because I know that Robin was counseling with my dad for a long, long time. And I'm curious if something might have happened in her counseling with my dad that upset her, that made her go, we're taking a step back. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. And then Christine talks about how she's never going to wear her garments again because she feels like they're a form of control. And they are.
They're absolutely are.
They are. And especially for women, they're very much a control thing for women, because again, it goes right back to the same crap that a woman needs to cover her body because a man can't control himself. So somehow a man's urges and a man's lack of ability to control himself now somehow becomes my problem as a woman. And so that is basically, I felt like, what the garments brought on.
Yeah. That, and also it's all about money. You can't go in and get your garments unless you're paying a full tithe or are part of a united order, which is you're paying all of your money in and getting back your needs or your needs and means back to take care of your family. But all the surplus, all the extra money that you guys have needs to go into the priesthood. And so if you are doing all the stuff that they're requiring you to do and giving them the money, then you can go into their endowment house. You can get their garments and be a part of their group. And the minute you take them off, you're taking off a symbol of their control over you.
Yep.
So I don't want to go through your endowment house. I'm not going to be paying a surplus. I'm not. Yeah, fine, I'll pay a tithing, but I'm not paying all of my stuff in there. And so those are all the signs that they're kind of pointing out of, when you take off your garments, they're also probably not paying or everything into the AUB, which is upsetting them. They're not in good terms with the AUB either.
And I wonder too, if this is when more TLC money started coming in, and when you're paying a 10% of that, I can see, okay, this is where I'm going to start getting snarky about this woman. I can see Robin going, oh my God, that's like 50 more dolls I could buy. We just paid the AUB $10,000. And what are we getting for it? What are we getting for it? Yeah. We're getting nothing. We're out of state or whatever. She justifies that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I wouldn't even that. What are we getting there out of state? He wasn't being given what him and Robin thought a role within the AUB, bishopric.
Because he didn't cut his hair.
Exactly. And so, okay, now we're bringing in money to the AUB. We better get our own way. Role. Yeah.
And this is a very true concept. There's a lot of people who make a lot of demands when they are paying a full tithe, when they are paying, when they feel like they've bought their way in. Now, I can attest to this personally, because when I was married to my ex-husband, he made a lot of money. And in December of one year, it wasn't a tithing check for the entire year, but it was for 6 months, and it was $10,000. And he was instantly in the prophet's back pocket. He was instantly, and when I would take some of my complaints to the priesthood, then I was ignored, because he was now in the prophet's back pocket. And so when our business started to take off, and I forced my ex-husband to pay a full tithing, because I was a good girl, and so he had a real hard time writing out that big check, but it got him position and recognition. But she talks about
almost a second wife.
and almost a second wife. If I hadn't been such a B word and not allowed that to happen, he would have had a second wife, which, at the time was the prophet's daughter. So, you can buy a second wife. Anyone else? And so she talks about how everyone else has said that they hadn't been wearing their garments because of the heat in Las Vegas. And she kind of talks about why they had taken them off under the camera lights. You can kind of see, we haven't gotten to I don't think we've gotten to this part yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're only on season 4. So there's a lot she talks about in here that we have not seen.
We're like, oh, we need to watch that.
Yeah.
So
we're like,
she says season 6, and we're like, yep, we got to catch up to that.
Yeah. And so they talk about how much they love their garments, how much they respected their garments, but being underneath all the filming lights, it felt like you were sitting in a baggie, like a Ziploc baggie, which is very true. They are so hot.
Well, so they love the idea of the garment, which is protection.
Well, and then she goes off and says that right here. She says that.
But when you're not afraid of the big scary world, then all of a sudden you don't need this protective clothing from it.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, she says she always loved putting her garments back on because they were like an extra layer of protection. And that is part of the temple ceremony, part of the temple. It's part of the covenant that you make, is that you will wear them always for extra protection. She talks about how Cody was a Sunday school teacher before they left, but they weren't really talking about doctrine as much. They were talking about being more Christ-like, which I thought was kind of interesting because if he was a Sunday school teacher, I'm curious what age he taught, because that would not have, like, if it was older, then it would have been more doctrinal, or if it was men only, it would have been doctrinal.
Yeah, there you go.
If it was co-ed, then I can see it's like, women, you just need to be more Christ-like and stop being angry with your husband for sleeping with other women. Like, you just need to find it in your heart to be nice. But yeah, she talks about how they had truly baptized at 8 years old. Okay, so that kind of gives us a little bit of a timestamp. And then they went to one more church service, and then they were done. They basically just stopped going to the AUB altogether after that. So 8 years old. So right now we're in season 4, and I think Truly's like maybe 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old. But although we haven't come to the part where Truly was hospitalized, we haven't gotten to that part yet.
So what year would that have been? Because
I don't know.
Jensen took over in
the prophet Lemoyne Jensen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we need to write these
2014,
timelines down so that we can understand. No, he died in 2014.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what he said.
But she talks about how she had questioned her faith, and she felt sure that her garments did not make her a better Christian. But that's part of the point of the garments, is to always be there as a reminder, even if it's a thorn in your side reminder, to be always doing what you promised and coveted to do. She talked about how she didn't understand how God could create one true religion and then leave a billion human beings to fight for their spot in the game of divinity musical chairs.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when I read that, because I have never understood that myself. We have never understood that. Like, there's billions of people here on the planet, and you're talking about a few thousand of us.
The majority of them are way better human beings than than the leaders of our or of the AUB.
Yeah,
so.
Most of them don't. God does not allow them to cheat, steal, and manipulate and thievery, and then bless them with mansions.
Well, they have morals. So.
Yeah, they have morals. Yeah. She talks about how in our church that men are in charge. Very much true. Women have no say in 90% of anything that happens. What's funny to me is when you get a woman who thinks that she actually has a say, and she might have a way of manipulating certain things, but then one day she gets swiped off that pedestal, and that's a hard fall. She didn't find so she found it hard to believe that billions of people weren't going to be available. And why would God come up with a plan like that? And especially with men that she didn't find honorable on a personal level and didn't care for them, because most of the leadership are pedophiles. And I mean, hopefully they've changed that now, but most of the men, a good chunk of the men have been prosecuted,
you should clarify that council members within the AUB
have
gone to jail.
have gone to prison
for
rape, molestation,
there
you
go.
name it.
Some of them have. So
she also goes in.
Others were.
What?
Some of them have been prosecuted.
Yeah.
So
some of them have not been prosecuted and should have been, but they died first. So lucky them.
Or the Lord gave them a revelation that they should be forgiven and people shouldn't talk about it.
Oh yeah. Well, there's that too.
There's that too. So
I forgot about that option. She goes off about the Virginia Hill case. That she was an actress, that people in the AUB embezzled over $1 million from this woman, and the church. Yeah,
read it.
So it just says that the actor Virginia Hill accused them of stealing more than $1 million from her, and a civil court ruled in her favor, as well as holding that church leaders embezzled money, tithing money. The church chose replacement leaders who were so strict with our children that our children hated them. So the Virginia Hill thing did come about. This was a really big lawsuit. This infuriated me. This is a perfect example of why the episode on Sunday infuriated me. Cory has read 90% of all the court documents, haven't you?
Well, yeah, not of the Virginia Hill.
But you've seen them. We've had access to them. They've been online. Yeah. You can go look at them online. What happened is some of this money was distributed between a bunch of like very elite people. Guess how many of those elite people had to pay any of that money back?
Well, if they were good, they paid $2,500 of it back, just like everybody else in the AUB.
So when you have to go into deeper explanation, you can't just like throw little things because people don't know what you're talking about.
No, so basically she won the lawsuit. A lot of the land that the people were living on, that the priesthood owned, was going to go to her unless they could come up with the money to pay off the lawsuit. And so what the AUB leadership did was made a call out to every man, woman, child in the AUB, and they figured, well, if every person within the AUB could come up with $2,500 each, then they could pay off the lawsuit. And so everybody within the communities, all the communities came together, earned money, went out, worked extra jobs, sold things to come up with $2,500 each to give to the AUB so that they then could pay off this lawsuit against them. Which allowed them to keep the properties that all these people had built their homes on. And then they chose, but the people who embezzled the money,
they walked away scot-free.
They got to keep all that money.
They got to keep their money.
Nobody held them accountable. Hey, you took X amount of dollars. You need to pay that back to the community. You took this and embezzled it. You need to pay that back to the community. It was all there.
And they started businesses with it. They ran businesses with it. They laundered the money. Quite a few, hundreds of thousands of, over $1 million was laundered. My boys were working out in North Dakota with their dad at the time. And his father, so my ex-father-in-law, ended up coming out there. Now he's an elderly man at this point, but my ex-husband gets him a job out there on the electrical fields in North Dakota. And he goes out there as this elderly grandfather so that he could earn his $2,500 to pay back the Virginia Hill money. My boys were furious because here they were grateful for the opportunity that they had to spend with their grandfather because they haven't spent a lot of time with him, but they were furious watching this frail old man out there working these hard laborious hours to try to make his $2,500 to
give to the AUB,
so that all of these other men who embezzled this money and laundered it and did all this other stuff with it
were off the hook,
were on vacations and drove BMWs and luxury cars and Mercedes, you name it. They all drove those type of cars and
little white sports cars.
We're not saying that. Yeah. No, we're not
Cody had
insinuating that
nothing-
Cody had
had
anything to do with it, because I don't think he did. But I do know quite a few of the people who walked away with hundreds of thousands of dollars with that, and they lived high on the hog for years. And the little old frail grandpas went and got extra jobs in the oil fields trying to help pay back this laundered money. And
the
that's
justification was there because she was a worldly woman and didn't need that money.
A, she was a woman. B,
and
she
it
was a
showed up.
worldly woman, and she didn't deserve what she was
Welcome,
trying to
Gail.
hide money. They told everybody a story that she was trying to hide money so she didn't have to pay taxes on it. So this was justifiable in their mind. So I love that she brings this up in here, because it has been Pinedale, where Cory grew up, was on the chopping block as something to be liquidated to pay back this money. And so my ex-father-in-law lives, has a wife in Pinedale. So this is why he was so upset about it. Thank you so much, Gail McInnes, for becoming one of our members. So she talks about the church teachings became more about previous prophets and previous leaders than any scriptural doctrine. And this is very, the way she says it, I love it, because this is how they keep you hooked into believing it's not scriptural. There's no scriptural reference for what they're saying. These are, prophecies that Rule and Allred had, or that Brigham Young had. Yep. And so then they can hook people in saying, well, yes, that's not in the scriptures. Yes, it's not in the Bible. Yes, it's not in the Book of Mormon. But this prophet had this really great revelation one time. And so now you have to follow this.
Well, and they became more strict after Owen died. The community tightened up and became more strict. They felt like that it was more of a loose or liberal community, I guess.
Yeah.
More of a, and they needed to tighten it up because there were too many, what was the scripture that they used? Too many tares among the wheat.
Yeah.
And so by tightening up the group, putting more restrictions and rules on it, the riffraff, or the people on the fringe, would get up and leave.
Right.
And which it did. That's exactly what it did. People that were free thinkers, people who thought for themselves, didn't were living the way that they thought they should be, but not putting so many restrictions on themselves. They got up and left. So, and only the hardcore, extremely righteous would then kiss the ring and keep doing it. So.
Yep. And thank you, Lisa Curran, for becoming one of our members. We appreciate that. We do in the lives, we do try to always answer all the members' questions first. So thank you so much. She told Christine she's now starting to deconstruct her faith at this point. She's starting to realize, hey, this is a load of crap. And so she tells Cody that she doesn't believe in the articles of faith anymore. And anyone who knows anything about Mormonism, the articles of faith, and you can Google this, maybe we'll talk about this when we release our 27 laws of polygamy. We'll go over the articles of faith at some point too, because those are the foundational principles of Mormonism, not just polygamy, but of Mormonism. These are the things that you have to agree to if you are going to be Mormon.
Yeah, they're basically the articles of faith were, this is what we believe, kind of laid out for other faiths to know what our main belief systems were.
Right.
And it was just like, this is what we believe. And then they're like, nope, you have to follow each and every one of these to the core to be able to get a temple recommend, to take the sacrament, to do whatever they wanted to control you with.
Believe in those.
So,
well, and what's funny to me is that Cody tells her, well, these are the foundational principles of our religion. And she's like, yeah, but I've lost my faith. And I think that was really profound right there, that she says, yeah, but I've lost my faith, because then you can't really deny something like that. You can't, you can try to coerce, convince, well, this is right, this is right, this is right. But when someone's lost their faith, that's like, oh my God, the world, you are now in a whole different level than you were before.
Well, what I'm liking about this is she's laying out the steps that she was going through, what she thought
to leave.
how it kind of, because there are so many people within the AUB that are thinking these same thoughts, that are going through these same, they just haven't, how many times she justified, no, I'm going to stay one more time. I'm going to do, because things are going to change or this is going to happen. And they don't. It
Yeah.
just gets stricter and stricter and stricter and
Yeah.
nuttier the longer you're in there. And so, yeah, a lot of people within the faith are having these same questions about their dogmas. So
But it's hard to voice that sometimes.
it is.
We're at 444 viewers right now.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, guys. So she also talks about how you have to have a temple recommend. In the AUB, they called it an activities recommend, is that you had to have an activities recommend in order to go to any of the. Now this,
because they didn't have a temple.
It's true.
Couldn't call it a temple recommend because they didn't own a temple.
But Owen Allred was the prophet for most of our lives.
Mhm.
He was a prophet for his brother Rulon was murdered. Then Owen became the prophet, and he was a prophet for over 30 years. When he died, Lemoyne Jensen came into power. He was a way more strict. So he's the one who started implementing the activities recommends, from my understanding. And she talks about how they prohibit someone from attending church activities if they don't tithe or believe in the tenets of the faith. So you have to go in every year. I believe it's every year. And you have to go through a question and answer series. Like, do you believe in this? Do you believe in this? And so she talks.
Update your faith.
Yeah. You have to convince them that you are still part of the fold.
Mm-hmm.
So she talks about how she was going to be a camp counselor with her sister. I loved girls camp. One of my favorite activities. I was a camp counselor once or twice. But I was 17. Hell, half the girls there were older than me because I could no longer go as a girl because I was married, and I was married at 17. So I went as a camp counselor, and so Christine's got to go renew and update her activities recommend. And when she realizes that she has to do this, she calls her sister and says, I can't be a camp counselor with you because I can't lie about this. And Cory just laughed, and he looked at me and he's like, but you did. And so I absolutely went in and lied about an activities recommend because our daughter, and we've talked about this before, she had a boy that she liked that was from the AUB, and they went to school together, and he wanted her to go to a dance with him. And I refused to let her go without me. And
we weren't going to let old men goggle
our daughter.
And look after her. So she wasn't going alone.
And I didn't really
Mama
lie.
Bear. No, you didn't.
As much as he said, can you sustain Lemoyne Jensen as the prophet, seer, and revelator of this day and age? And I was like, well, I'm working on it. And he goes, oh, aren't we all? We all are. And I said, yeah. I'm like, I hope to get there one day, but I'm not there yet. And so I didn't necessarily flat out lie, but I was honest.
She did a polygamist.
I did a polygamist
lie.
Yeah. Right. Where I justified it, and it was okay. But I absolutely refused to let her go to this dance without me, without one of us. And he wasn't going to do it. He was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And so I did it.
Yeah. I went the last time I went there. They asked for my whatever it was, and
activities recommend for the high school graduation. He went to watch his niece graduate high school from the AUB church school, and they were not going to let him in the door because he did not have an activities recommend.
Well, I showed him the invite, and they're like, well, you need the recommend. And like, I just played like I owned the place. Well, I'll just have to talk
do you know who my dad or my father-in-law is? My father-in-law's a really
and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
So didn't look at mine.
So she talks about how she stopped going to Sunday school. She ditched her garments. She put her earrings back in. And she said that Cody asked her, how does God feel about you doing this? And she's like, God feels great about it. I am totally fine. She said it took her about 6 months to process everything before she realized this is what she was doing. And I underlined the hell out of this next sentence because she realized that she had to tell her children that she was struggling after spending their entire lives convincing them that all of this was true. And now she has to now tell them that she doesn't believe any of it's true. And just like her mother had done with her. I mean, what a humbling experience to have to do that. I know a lot of people who have left and still won't do that with their children because ego, pride, whatever it is, they still won't go to their children and have conversations. I told my mom, I'm going to get you to admit that this is a cult before you pass. And she was like, that'll probably never happen. Well, it's happened multiple times now. She talks about how she did enjoy having community. That is the one thing I have missed the most is community. But is your community, is that a good community when everyone lies, when everyone manipulates, when everyone, and not everyone, a good chunk of people are, that's not, but she talks about how she did have fun growing up in the church. They raised children who were different. We were all taught that we were different. But she raised children who were now different from the way she was raised. Yeah. It's a different kind of different. And
she from said, the kids, yeah, they definitely didn't raise them. They raised them more as free thinkers. Yeah. I felt like I was way more indoctrinated as a kid. And it wasn't until later on in life that I started to, I was stubborn, but I wouldn't say that I was allowed to be a free thinker until I was later on in my teenage years.
Right.
And I wasn't allowed. I just fought and was stubborn.
So she talks about how the Browns raised their children differently and they exposed them to different religions. They exposed them. They raised them to want to have an education and to have friends outside of the church. And the kids who go to girls camp and go to these types of things, they're very, very narrow-minded. I didn't have friends outside of the church. There was no point in it. Why have friends with people who aren't going to go to heaven with you? Like, that seems silly, right?
Well, and to put thoughts in your head, like you should do something more than aspire to just be a mom,
right,
and a wife. So
right. And so she says the church kids didn't, for the most part, watch movies. They didn't listen to music. She says that it started to dawn on her that the only one who knew the actual rule of God that she was required to follow without question and a strict rules. And she grew up afraid of the outside world in a sheltered community. We judged and ostracized those who left the church. Was the prophet of the church. That's it. He's the only one who knew the rule of God. And then at this point, she says, I believe I grew up in a cult and I raised my children in a cult. So a lot of people.
There's going to be some strong words from her dad to Christine about this.
Twice in one video. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, and Christine's going to get in trouble for doing that too. So
yeah.
That's two people that have left the AUB that now calls it a cult that I know of. So
right.
Probably a lot more. So
well, and I just think people complained at the beginning of her book when she said, if I was raised in a cult, I didn't care. So be it, because that's where she was at that part of her journey. Yeah. She was in that section of, I don't care if I'm in a cult. I love these people. I love this church. Now her eyes are awake and her eyes are open and she's awake to things. And she's saying, wait a minute, I was raised in a cult and this is not good. This is not healthy. She said that she was not coerced or forced to stay. She stayed because they liked the people. They liked the idea. She had freedom. I write this big, huge question mark right here. Really? You did? And she felt safe and she had so much fun.
But she also says that she had a very tunnel vision.
Right.
Later on, but we all felt like that we had some level of freedom. It wasn't as bad as the other cults that were out there. We were the free thinkers of the polygamist group until you asked too many questions, and then it was like, no, we're kind of like them.
Yeah, we're not like that.
Yep.
Well, and I love how she points it out. But just like everyone else in this cult, I had tunnel vision, a tunnel of thoughts with a particular set of boundaries. The coercion level in this AUB, is off the charts. Like, you think that you have free choice. I thought I had free choice to get married 8 days after I turned 17. The coercion is unreal. She looked to other religions hoping for something that made sense for her, but she hadn't been able to find anything. And so when people come on here and they ask us, what religion are you guys now? I love that she says that if she doesn't want to be a part of anything, if there's a devil or a punishment from God, she doesn't want to be a part of that. She'd rather live her life with hope. And we related so much to that because we feel the same way. We don't want to be in a religion that has the fear tactics associated with it. And then she also goes off as she talks about all the books that she read. One book that I have read multiple times, I would highly, highly recommend it, is Napoleon Hill's, is called Outwitting the Devil. There's an unabridged and there's a abridged version, unabridged version. I recommend getting the unabridged version. It is one of the best books I have ever read. I've read it several times. It talks about fear and jealousy hold you back from doing the things that you want to do. I have not read the Screw Tape Letters, but I want to. Yep. Cory and I talked about that. She talks about how it's just important for her to have a personal relationship with God at this particular time. And she began to understand why she wasn't part of a religion anymore, why she didn't want to be part of religion anymore. And I thought, I love to see it when people hit this point, especially in such a high controlled religion where if you hit this point when you are still in there, you're toast because they're coming after you hard to try to convince you how wrong you are.
Well, and I think we are in such a controlled religion, but one of the things that stood out to us or that we wanted to be a part of, or all of us enjoyed, was the community part of it.
Right.
And so I think once we left the religion, left AUB, you start to look for other communities.
Right.
And
well, we did. We both joined the Mormon church right after we left.
And then I just realized, well, it's
just
similar
replace
community.
One religion for another.
Yeah. And so then left again. So and haven't joined and created our own community with our own family, friends. So you can create that community on your own. You don't have to be a part of a religion for that community. That's probably that's one of the amazing things about religions is the community part of it. But you can create communities on your own too.
Yeah. I love how she talks about how she became stronger in her own identity and she was stronger in, hey, God's fine with me. I'm fine with God. She didn't need to be a part of a church in order to have God in her life. And she didn't need to buy into the ideas that men dominate over women and that you can't have pierced ears in order to have a relationship with God. I think the whole pierced ears thing is so I could go off on a huge tangent on that and then I'll just get ripped apart on Reddit. So I won't do that. But she says, I'm sure losing one's faith is scary, but for her, it was beautiful. It was lovely. And she said, oh my gosh, I've been so backwards. I remember thinking the world is full of people. I remember thinking the world is full of people to not be afraid of.
Yeah.
And we were taught our entire lives that the world was afraid of people. The world was full of people that we should be afraid of. She goes, the world became more beautiful for her then. And what a freeing experience to have that. Like, it is one of the most freeing things to know that you're loved regardless of whether you are in this religion or not.
Yeah. It was one of the biggest, all of a sudden I felt like I could breathe for the first time. I felt like that the whole time I was growing up and just these little shallow breaths trying to, you didn't want to make too much noise. You didn't want to do stuff. It was this little tiny shallow breathing just to stay alive. And all of a sudden when I realized and I was out, I was like, holy cow, I can breathe again and I can make noise and breathe. And it's safe and fine out here. So it was an amazing feeling. So
I love how she said she decided to stay with the family because having a family is separate from being in a religion, but she was done with her church. And then she goes, the good parts of me didn't go away with my Jesus jammies. I was stunned when I read that because that's pretty bold for her to say, like, to refer to the garments like that when you can tell that she is done with that at that point because you just do not disrespect. And what's the word that I'm thinking of when you slang, when she uses a slang word for for garments. You just do not do that. You hold them with the utmost respect.
If she's talking about the garments negatively, and then she's talking about priesthood leaders negatively, that's all against what they were coveted to do in the endowment house. So
Right.
that is definitely the sign of leaving. So,
well, and then she starts talking about how with 17 children or 18 kids, they knew someone would come out as LGBTQ. She knew that, and she wondered always how she would respond. That's what's so hard, is because you always do wonder, like, I don't want to be judgmental about this, but is my inner, programming going to come out? Am I going to be an asshole about this? And I love how she says this. She goes, with love, I thought nothing has changed. I will respond. She's going to respond with love. Yeah. And I love that so much for her.
Because that's not what's taught in the dogma. So that's not what's taught in the religions we grew up with. So you were to judge these people. You were to shame them. I mean, if you were going to shame somebody for drinking coffee or a beer, you were definitely going to shame somebody
for their sexual
same way that they would shame somebody for premarital sex. Have to do a whole purity speech over that. So
well, I love it at the very end, because this is how I feel too. I feel like it says, teach me how to say things. So she went to Leon, and she went to Gwendolyn, and she says, and her kids in general, and says, teach me how to say this in a way that isn't offensive, because this is all new for me. Or what's a better way to phrase this so that I sound as accepting as I feel? Each time I've progressed, I've realized that I wasn't as open-minded as I thought that I was, and I'm going to keep working to do better. My mom always had it right. Just love people. And I highlighted that whole thing. I wanted to read it word for word, because I agree with that so much, that sometimes we're not as the things that we say are not as they don't sound as accepting as how we genuinely feel, because we weren't taught anything different. And I know we can't use ignorance for the rest of our lives, but this is something that we have had to learn to, come about. And having a niece that is so close to me, she has a wife and they have beautiful children, and I adore her and I love her. And I have asked her these exact same things. Please help me to understand this so that I communicate in a way that is not harmful.
Well, here's the interesting part about growing up in the community we did. They're not what you would call arranged marriages, but they're very suggested marriages. You have to get permission from the prophet or from the leaders. And if they felt like it was a good idea that you get married, then great, you could move forward. If they didn't, then it was done. No more talking about it. You could not get married. You could not, if the leadership said no, you couldn't survive within the community and still get married. You were cast out. Yeah. And the interesting part, there's that strategy of marriage. And if you look at AUB, if you look at a lot of different high restrictive,
high controlled
religions, those marriages don't last that long. And they can say that they do, but they're recycled in or something goes on. And my family that found love on their own got to choose who they wanted to be with for the rest of their life. They are still in relationships far longer than all of these approved marriages by the Lord's mouthpiece saying, yes, I approve that marriage. I will accept this. And these other marriages, these other relationships are lasting far longer than any of these arranged marriages or approved marriages from within the AUB. So that's got to tell you something.
Right.
So
I'm seeing a bunch of your comments and questions in here. So yes, Rosa, thank you so much, Rosa. I've been trying to get her to come and be a mod for us when she's on. So Rosa was raised but raised in AUB and was raised with Robin down there in Cedar City. So Cory was raised down the street from Robin in Pinesdale, and then they moved down to St. George and attended church in Cedar City. There's a big community down in Cedar City. People are asking about Preston, where he lives. Yes, he still lives in Montana. Apparently my little brother is best friends with him right now. Well, I say little brother, but he's like 6'9", 6'8", and he's huge. So he goes off about being Preston's personal bodyguard right now. Yesenia Shavaria says, at 14, I asked my parents if I could get a belly button pierced. My dad said to pray about it and come back to him. 15 minutes later, I said, God said yes, and my parents let me. That's awesome. Lisa Curran says, Katie, so is Robin's extended family still in Pinesdale? A lot of them are, yes. But a lot of them are in mid-Utah too. They're in around the Cedar City area.
Robin's
the first wife's kids are there. Well, the first wife only had 2 children, and one of them, yes, she does. Mindy's mom, Mindy was the nanny for Robin for a long time. Mindy's mom does live in Montana. Most of her children do live up there as well. My cousin's married to one of her children.
Okay, I agree.
So yeah. And then, but the first wife had 2 children. The one still in Montana. The other one lives actually like 15 minutes from us. And then I don't know where all of her other siblings live. So thank you, Rosa, for catching a lot of Katie. So we've got Katie on here as a mod, and then we've got Rosa on here as a mod. Let's see. Okay. All right. So Marie Baker says, hearing Christine explaining all of these via audiobook is beautiful to me. Her soft, sweet voice making my heart feel peaceful. I agree. There's just something different that hits different when you hear it coming straight from her. So we have the book and we highlight. I mean, you can see we've got a ton of yellow highlights all throughout the book as we're listening to it on audio. Yeah. So we listen to both.
I want to answer this one.
Okay.
Would the AUB Council give reasons for preventing marriage? Sometimes, most of the time, they assume, everybody assumed they talked to God. So if God said no, they really wasn't an answer. But if you're like, why? Well, because she's been promised in previous life to another man. And so, yeah, you don't get to marry her. Mm-hmm. And if you went off and married each other anyhow, then you didn't get to do it within the AUB temple or whatever it's called. And then you were probably shamed about it and given advice that it's never going to last.
Yeah.
So this will fall apart because it's not blessed by God's anointed man. So
yeah. And hopefully Rosa doesn't kill me for this, but I just made you a mod really quick. And Rosa, you definitely don't have to mod all the time. Just whenever you're on live, it's awesome that people can know who you are. Let's see. Oh yeah. Try being a there. So someone says there's too many Jessups. Okay. So there's primary families in polygamy. Jessup was a major primary family. Allreds are a major primary family. Jensen's are a major primary family. And so, yeah, Katie says, try being from Pinesdale. Yeah, there's a million Jessups in Pinesdale. Cory's sister and Katie's sister are married to a few of them. So go ahead.
She's married to one of them.
Well, one, I know, but do you not have any other sisters married to? We only have one Jessup sister. Oh, I was thinking you had a couple more, but no, I guess, yeah. Oh, sorry.
That would be funny if she was married to multiple.
Not her, but I'm just saying you have multiple siblings that are married into that family line. And my cousin is married to Mindy's little brother, which would be Robin's nephew, I guess. So,
and I apparently married into a royal family name too. I just didn't know it at the time.
I didn't know it at the time either.
So,
yeah. Woo. Yeah. Apparently we're like, yeah.
We're big deals.
So. Really big deals. So, okay, we're chapter 25. Wow, we're an hour in and we barely got one chapter. So we're going to hurry and go through this one. It says, don't make jokes with Oprah.
Like Smiths.
When she says Oprah can make or break you. If you don't impress Oprah, your lawsuit is going to fail. That kind of bothered me to some degree too, because no one should have that much sway over a political system like that. But nonetheless, that's where we are in our society
Well,
today.
I don't think it was a political system. I think it was she could either get the people's opinion, the world's opinion, or the United States opinion on your side, which would probably sway political opinions.
Right.
So that's, I think, why they were saying don't joke around with her. So
Right.
because they wanted the American people, the American public, on their side in case the legal system went after them.
Right.
So.
Right. So Oprah asked, oh, I just have to point this out really quick. Stop. Look what your sister said. I was kind of right. Technically, our brother-in-laws are nephews and uncles. So you kind of were right, Mel. So see, yeah, there's a whole bunch of Pinedale kids, Mary Pinedale kids, and yeah, everybody's
But they have different last names. So
kind of, yeah. They have different last names, but their mothers are Jessups. They just have different last names now. But okay. So Oprah wanted to know why Christine was upset with Cody kissing Robin before they got married, but she wasn't upset with Mary and Janelle having sex with Christine's husband. It's funny because unless you are really raised this way, the answer seems ridiculous. Where she says, because Mary and Janelle are married to the man that they're sleeping with. What are you laughing at now?
Cory, don't tell Mel. I said this, but I want Sabin to leave Cody and marry Mel's dad.
Oh my gosh. Who said that? We have to ban them from our channel.
No, you do not. That's the truth. Karma is of his favorite wife having to deal with.
Honestly,
sobs.
I
That
would not.
be
I would
amazing.
laugh. I think that would be so
Yeah.
hilarious, and it would be so well deserved on both of their parts.
Mhm.
It wouldn't just be on Robin or on my dad. It would be on Robin too, and my dad would deserve it, and she would deserve it.
Mhm.
So when you're in this religion and people don't understand, why are you okay? It's not okay to go kiss someone else's husband, but sure, you can have sex with my husband as long as you're married to him too. It seems like ridiculous. There's like so many other words I want to use, but I don't want to get banned.
Well, because they don't look at it. Once you become a wife, you have all the rights and powers of a wife.
You hope
You
if the other
hope.
wives allow that.
Well, no. You can be put out to pasture. You could be the favorite wife. You could make an office for him. You could have many children for him. Whatever those rights are, you have those rights. But when you're dating, you shouldn't be having any of the touching and all that stuff. And
Right.
they're saying kiss, but something was making all of the wives feel uneasy.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a lot more than kissing.
it was a lot more. They were all feeling uneasy. They were all feeling frustrated with his behavior and how his behavior changed.
Yeah.
From the way he acted when they were dating him.
Yeah. Very much difference between a wife and a girlfriend or a fiance. So I love that their producer told them over and over, no jokes with Oprah, and Cody just cannot help himself because this man cannot just shut his mouth. And he made an attempt at a joke, and they all felt bad for him. Like, dude, you deserve all the shit you get from people. But Oprah just is like, that's not funny. I don't know who you are. I don't know your sense of humor. Like, I don't think that's funny at all.
Yeah.
And I love that is one of the things I've always loved about Oprah. She will just say it how it is. And I appreciate that because Cody is not used to being talked to like that. Again, people have made fun of me because I give Cory a courtesy laugh. It is something that we have been trained to do. When Cory's not funny, I will give him a courtesy laugh sometimes. I don't realize that I do it. I think it's just something that we have been literally ingrained into us of. And so for someone, it's almost like you have in extreme to where you feel shame, secondhand embarrassment when your husband's getting reprimanded, especially by a woman and a woman of color. Like, I can only imagine the anger that he felt and the anger that or maybe not the anger, but like oh my gosh, our husband's being reprimanded by a woman. What?
Yeah. The only thing worse would probably be reprimanded by the leader of the church. So, and have a wife be given a release.
Right.
So,
right. So then she talks about how wonderful her, like, overall her experience with Oprah was amazing. She loved it. But then they start talking about Joe Darger and how Joe Darger and his family, because Utah had in, let's see, I forgot to write this part down. They start talking about how Joe Darger and his wives are fighting the state of Utah too. They felt like the fight in Utah for decriminalizing polygamy. So I don't think that they ever really wanted to make it legal, but they wanted to decriminalize it so that people would come forward more with abuse.
Yeah.
And so she said it felt important to win that lawsuit so that they could go back to Utah. And we now know Christine's the only one who wanted to come back to Utah. Joe Darger was married to 3 women. 2 of them are twins. One of the twins was married to a man in the AUB who highly, highly, highly benefited from the Virginia Hill case. Just a little tidbit. And he actually left the AUB, and she then left the AUB and went and married Joe Darger. But she was originally married in the AUB. Joe Darger would be considered an independent polygamist. He doesn't believe in a priesthood leadership.
Yeah.
So they live polygamy on their own without being a part of a community.
Or going through the community AUB temple or endowment house.
Yep.
Probably don't wear garments. So
nope, they don't do any of that kind of stuff.
Can't get any of the rituals done.
Yeah. And so then she talks about in our community, it is not unusual for sisters or friends to marry the same guy. My little sister was such an asshole about this. It was so funny. Whenever she'd find out sisters were married, she's like, because she was very outspoken at a very young age and not wanting to be in polygamy. And she would say, that's gross. You let your husband kiss your sister. And she would be so, I would just shrivel up and die of embarrassment, but she didn't care. She thought it was disgusting.
Yeah. People ask, is that normal? Every sibling and my father and every one of my siblings that male siblings that have lived polygamy have married a sister. So
when we actually sat down and figured that
every
out,
one
I was
of them,
like,
they've all married sisters. So,
and one of my brothers that lives this way has married sisters. 2
of their wives were sisters, or 2 of them were at least sisters, and every one of the marriages that I know of within the AUB. So every one of them.
Yep. So it's very, very common for that. My dad has not done that, at least that I'm not aware of. I mean, I'm out of the loop now, but she talks about how Joe Darger and his wives deserve the credit for pushing for the decriminalization of polygamy in the state of Utah. And so they were the ones who really pushed to have that done. I think somebody's mentioned to us before that they have a book called Love Times 3, Our True Story. They're independent polygamous. Oh yeah, which I already read that part. I have never read that book. I did not know about that book. And if any of you guys have followed our channel for a while, you'll know that I used to work for Joe Darger for a long time. I've heard some negative aspects of Joe Darger. I don't know anything about any of that. I know that when I quit working for him, there was some promises made that were not kept, and I ended up having to quit working for him. But I don't know. I'm starting to hear and learn more and more about that situation. I don't know. All I know is that when I came out of polygamy, I did not have a high school diploma, did not finish my senior year of high school. I had 3 babies, and he gave me a job and gave me a good paying job at the time and treated me with respect. So that's my interactions with him. But I am hearing more and more stuff from more and more people about that situation that I was completely unaware of. So then she talks about when they sued the state of Utah, it angered the church, and it really did. we had to go back and figure out who the leader was at the time, and it was Lemoyne Jensen. Owen Allred was a lot more liberal in his thinking. He was a lot more progressive thinking, I feel like. Where Lemoyne Jensen took it back about 100 years when he became the prophet.
Well, he wasn't enforcing a lot of the stricter laws. Just, hey, live. Just, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, he wasn't in. And people started to dress better or more modern to fit in, and all sorts of stuff, and the kids were leaving, and I think that they were like, hey, if we're going to keep more of these kids in, we have to be stricter with them. That was the way we were raised, and it didn't work for my parents. So so majority of us have all left, so there's only a few left in the AUB. Everybody else has left. So
but she talks about how angry it made the AUB, and it did. By that point, they didn't feel like we represented them, and not all of us thought we did either. She said she had spoken out against some of their practices, and they didn't want that to be in the limelight. Yeah, they don't like that at all. In fact, my dad is extremely angry. He just sent me a threatening text a couple of days ago because I posted a picture of him online, and he's threatening me again because I had better be careful about what pictures I post online.
We have to buy the picture that is going throughout the AUB of the prophet look. You're posting unflattering pictures of the PSR. So
I know. Yep.
So if we pay our $5.99, we could probably get a picture of him that you could post online. So
go to the church storehouse and buy a picture. She said that they won their case, and they decriminalized it based on their civil rights. Well, then the case was overturned because the state of Utah came back and said the Browns were actually never prosecuted for polygamy, so their civil rights had not been violated. So in 2013, then they overturned that. And they actually came back and made it harder. Like, they became more strict. 2017, they said that the state upped the ante, and we have not followed a lot of this part of it. We're in the process of learning a lot more about this. Because when we left polygamy, we didn't want to know a lot about a lot of this stuff. And so she said that they upped the ante to make it a more serious second degree rather than a third degree felony. For if domestic or sexual abuse is involved, and they exempted minors from the prosecution. They reworded the definition of bigamy, and the old law said if a man spiritually marries someone else or lives with them, the new law says bigamy if he lives with purported spouse while legally married to someone else. The Dargers kept after this for the abuse, because honestly, that made people go way deeper into hiding, because why would a woman report that only to be charged with a second degree felony? That's counterproductive.
Especially if she's a third or fourth wife, he's doing stuff to her children. She comes out and admits that, and then she's going to jail too. And it's threatened all the time. Cody even threatens Christine with be careful, because the state of Utah is
coming after
your kids type thing. Even after this was going, they use it as a threat to scare the women into staying in abusive society, in abusive situations, that you have no place else to go. You leave, you go to jail. So that's your choices, and your kids get taken away. So if you want your kids taken away, go ahead and leave me. Go ahead and talk to the authorities. So
I was told that all the time when I wanted to leave. Well, you won't get the kids because you're not educated enough. You're not smart enough. You're not. And I didn't. And I believed that because I didn't even go to one day of my senior year of high school. I was pregnant, about to become a mother. And so I didn't go to high school. I knew nothing about, and so I trusted. He was 25 when we got married. I was 17. I trusted. Why would he lie to me about that? Right. Oh, yeah. I didn't know a lot of things until our divorce got severe enough that police got involved. And then police gave me resources and said,
Yeah.
you need to go look into this. You need to go look into this. I'm like, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. A little shout out to Melanie's sister who's watching this, or her dad. If you guys want to send us an updated picture that you want us to show online, we'd love to put that PSR one in. Hey, you know where we live, just have one of those pictures sent over. So we won't put it up on the wall, but we'll show people online what you guys look like or what it looks like. So I know you're both watching, so come on, send it over.
Wow. Cory's calling people out already. She talks about how in 2020, Utah legislature passed a law that made polygamy among consenting adults an infraction, like a parking ticket. I know there's a lot of upset on both sides of this aisle, but truthfully, that will help bring more. In my opinion, they should make it legal. Men will not be doing that. They will not be splitting their assets.
Yeah. The minute that, hey, you have 3 wives, they're all on there, they can all divorce you. Yeah, they will not be doing that. And it's funny that she called it a parking ticket too, because they've been parking their priesthood in the wrong place. You get a little parking ticket for putting that priesthood where it shouldn't, or where you're in another wife. So,
oh my gosh. Okay. So then she finishes this chapter with, no matter what else happens with our family, I'm proud that we helped people see polygamy in a different light. I think they accomplished that. Yep. Maybe not the way Christine thinks they might have.
Well, no, I think exactly the way I think exactly, because she went through the whole process, is writing it in a book of this is the faults within it. And I believed it so strongly. I was dogmatically trained to do it. She was one of the fiercest fighters for people to live polygamy. And now she's going, wait a minute. It was dissolving the whole time right in front of her. And so how many other wives are in the exact same situation, watching their marriages dissolve just like she was, and are having the same questions Christine was, and can now go, maybe I can speed up I'm not staying in till the end, suffering to the end. I can go, no, this isn't going to change, and I can quit now and have more time with somebody that they actually love, more time connecting with their kids. So,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So,
right.
It's a huge wake up. This is a good wake up book. So,
right. So I'm just kind of scrolling through some of your guys' comments. Mindy is Robin's sister's daughter, so niece. So Mindy would be Robin's niece, from another mother.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Mindy's great. I don't know her that well personally, but a million people I know around me know her. And from what I've seen of her, I've been in parties or places where she's been, and she seems wonderful. But she would be the first wife's oldest daughter's daughter. So that's who Mindy is. But no, people were over in here like, wait, what?
The amazing part of the family.
Yeah. Somebody says another creator has talked about having the locks changed to a teaching building as how they found out that they had been kicked out of the AUB. Is this usual? Is there no formal excommunications? Yeah, we've heard about that too, especially, Cory's had a formal excommunication.
I got one.
But not everyone does have a formal excommunication. When that happened, my understanding is up in Pinesdale that did happen, because then the next prophet after Lemoyne Jensen, Lynn Thompson, was accused of sexual abuse, and half the people up there believed, half the people didn't, and that's how they found out they were kicked out.
Well, and so basically what I understand happened there was part of the what did you got the temple recommend was that you, like she said, supported and what is it, loved and supported and would do anything that the new prophet said. And when some people were like, when some people were like, no, we're not going to do that, then they didn't get a temple recommend. And so then those who had the temple recommend, those who were running the building, felt like, okay, we can change the locks so that, because up until then, everybody, main people had keys to the building. And so, well, this guy no longer, we're going to change the locks, and we're only going to give the keys to those who have sustained the PSR. And yeah, those other people that wouldn't get their temple recommends because they weren't going to support the new prophet because of what he was doing, they basically showed up to church and found out that the keys locks have been changed. So
yeah. And again, I see Rosa answering a lot of this, and so is Katie. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a lot of formal excommunications. It's not, that just doesn't really happen. It's more of a parting of ways where we just go our way, you just go your way, and we call it good. And no, but unless you're really, really bad and you do really, really bad stuff,
or if you're
then you get
important enough,
then you get
that they feel like they need to give you a piece of paper that,
or if you're a nice enough guy that you threaten the moral fabric of all the other douches up there, then yes, you can get excommunicated. Cory was a nice guy.
Yeah, the AUB, not a church, not a religion, it's a corporation, and it's hard.
They are a corporation.
It's hard to excommunicate shareholders, so yeah, they don't like doing that.
Yeah. Sarcastic Cat Lady says the leadership must be pretty mad that Cody's saying these things on national television. Yeah, they were very upset. I heard it from my dad all the time about how upset they were about it.
And especially Christine, because she had been such a fighter and a representation up until that point of the AUB. She was going out educating people, and so she was a mouthpiece for them. And all of a sudden now she's talking against them, and they are ticked about that.
Yeah.
So
Carrie McGrath says, are you in oh wait, sorry, I missed that one. It jumped. Tina 4RL says, for Mel, does your mom feel like she missed out on a romantic love in this life? I think she does. I think at the time she believed that's what it was. But as she's watched Christine leave Cody, and she's read Christine's book, she's had a lot of tears, a lot of emotion, because she's now seeing things in a different way. But at the time, you justify. This is another reason why I've said from the very beginning that I don't believe that the Browns felt like they were duping or lying to the public, because they were telling the truth as truthful as they knew it to be. And this is the truth with my mom. She believed she was in a romantic relationship as you could be. She doesn't know anything different. And so she has struggled a lot. Not because she's not happy for me, but watching mine and Cory's relationship has been hard on her too, because she will sit there and Cory will be doing something random and she'll just start crying. And she's like, I didn't even know a husband could be that way to his wife. And then she'll start crying again. And she'll be like, I didn't even know a father could be that way with his children. And so it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so she believed at the time that and this is why my parents would tell us all the time, we just want you guys to have a relationship like ours. And every single time, without fail, I would always say back to my parents, why? Do you hate me? Why would you wish that on me? And so my mom has really struggled watching our relationship, even through our divorce. When we got divorced, our divorce was even better than what she has had most of her married life. So it's really tragic. Okay. And then let's see. Oh, Anna G says a passive aggressive excommunication is the most Mormon thing I have ever heard of. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And so let's see. Okay. So now we're on to chapter 26. This chapter infuriated me to no end. It says, can I just be with her, please? And this is the chapter where we go over what happened with Truly. Now, we have not seen these episodes. We did not know to the extent that this had happened. We knew something had happened with Truly. I mean, we've seen the highlight reels or the clippets or whatever, but we have not seen these episodes yet. This one infuriated me because, I have a dad just like this. And yeah, Cory did too. So, she talks.
You had a dad just like this.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. But she talks about how they're going to do the commitment ceremony, which was the biggest crock of crap I've ever seen. But she talks about, I was always wondering why they did this commitment ceremony. I have never seen any polygamous family. Now, we did watch this episode of the commitment ceremony only because I had half a dozen siblings in the audience and my parents were there. My dad was there. And so we were watching TV to find
At the commitment.
Yeah.
Your dad was there?
Yeah. I think my dad was there. I know he's been at a couple of
They were on the outs with the AUB at that point, right?
Yeah, but why? But all my brothers were there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Maybe my dad wasn't there. He's been at a couple of these things, but my brother had quite a few siblings there, and so we watched it just to see, like, oh, our siblings are on TV now. But she talks about how the wives went to San Francisco to get dresses for this. Again, something that never happens. You would home make your own dress, or you would. But they have money at this point, so they can do whatever they want. She says that the producers showed Cody at home completely clueless how to feed and care for his 17 children, which I think is so ridiculous.
That's where I'll agree. We were very self-sufficient as children.
We had to be.
Yeah.
We would starve or die.
Exactly. And so if the moms did leave, we were very self-sufficient. So there's no way Dad could have taken, he had to have help from us to take care of 29 of us all in the same house. So running around at the same time.
I love how she takes this little stab at Robin. She said in San Francisco, they discovered many things, like they can't all shop at the same shop because their body types are so significantly different. And B, that they couldn't talk on the phone with Cody in front of the other wives. Now, we haven't obviously watched that episode, but I have seen the little snippet where Robin's just like pissed because Cody calls and talks to Christine.
No.
I'm so not going to be nice to Robin anymore. That episode last night just did me in, or Sunday night just did me in.
Opened your eyes.
It did. Like, I'm just trying to give this woman I'm just like, let me be nice to you. Give me some reason to be nice to you. But she doesn't. And it's just like episode after episode just gets worse. And so she says that Aspen ends up calling Christine saying truly sick, like really sick, and she doesn't know what to do. So Christine calls Cody, and Cody says the girls are there, they can take care of it. I have been in Aspen's shoes a million times, and my dad has never one single time ever shown up. This does not surprise me that Cody does this. And Christine says, no, Cody, I really need you to go help with Truly. And Cody's response to her is, I have a lot to do at Robin's house. I'll see what I can do. She finds out later he's home folding Robin's laundry.
Or doing her laundry.
Oh my gosh. That woman's got some serious Victoria's Secret shit going on, because he's willing to sacrifice his 3-year-old for this.
Probably home sniffing.
Yeah. So
Robin's
they come back from the trip. They realize just how sick Truly actually is. They take her into the hospital. The hospital says, take her to the ER immediately. She's in full kidney failure. They admit her to the hospital and stay there. Cody would come during the day and then leave at night. And she says that Truly wasn't getting any better and had to be on dialysis. This entire part just made me sick to my stomach. She's 3. And then they would come in and ask for more money. The part that really just like got me under here is that by the end of it, these are Christine's exact words out of her book. By the end of it, I would owe more than $200,000. Yeah. There's no we. There's no Cody and I. There's no nothing. This is 100% on Christine and Christine's shoulders financially. So now not only is she the primary caregiver for this extremely ill 3-year-old, she is now financially responsible for all of this. I can't even imagine the overwhelming burden that must, like the hopelessness she must have felt in that moment. Then she goes about all of the details about Truly being in the hospital and having to watch her 3-year-old be wheeled away and realizing, she says, I realized it was out of my hands and it was in their hands. It was the worst feeling. There was nothing I could do for her. And she has nobody to lean on. Aspen is who she can lean on. Aspen should never have been put in that position ever. And Yeah, reading this just makes me, I mean, can you imagine if one of our children went through that? You would be at
We
the
did.
hospital
We
24/7.
did.
Well, we did do it. Our child
Mhm.
had complete liver failure and 3
Yeah.
days old.
And
And
we
so
were
we
there
had to go
3
through that.
days. So
Yeah.
both of us. So yeah, I wasn't going to leave his side. This
Yeah.
is my
Mhm.
kid, but I was cut from a different cloth than
I
Cody.
I mean, what kind of, this
And
man should never have been able to reproduce this many times.
yeah, well, yeah, they believe
We
they
can't hate
believe
this
they
man
have
enough.
yeah they believe that they have many children, and that sometimes God could take one. So
It's okay if he
and
does,
so
because there's a
because we
ample
have a
supply.
ton, so it's insane. It's insane. I don't know how
The illogical logic that these men come up with.
how steely cold they can be. So
Right.
you think that you as a parent, there's some sort of biological, man, I love this human being, and I would do anything for it. Um, but I feel like sometimes these guys get so desensitized with so many kids that it's okay if that one's gone, or if that, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you don't.
My dad has
There's
literally said,
desensitizing of too many kids.
he's
So
literally said the words, when I got divorced and then got married again to Cody. I hate that. Sorry, Cory. My dad's literal words to me was, "Oh, good, one less child I have to worry about now. You're Cory's problem." So I didn't know I was a problem. Thanks, Dad. And then she goes into detail about talking to the surgeon and what needs to be done with Truly. And just, I mean, again, we are not taught to do very many medical things. So this is scary as hell. This had to be terrifying for Christine to go through, especially feeling so uneducated on so many. I mean, I felt that way when our little guy went into the hospital.
well, and sorry, I'm going to go back to what you just said there. That once you married me, you're my problem, and that's because of the belief system.
Talk a little bit longer.
The belief system that you are property. You are his property. Now he's passing that property on to me, the man, or the priesthood holder, and now you become my problem instead of being your own sovereign human being
I know.
that can create and do whatever you want. And yeah, that's funny because I was like, yeah, that's exactly how we were raised,
Mhm.
and how I feel like my thinking has changed from when I was a kid. So
Yeah, we don't own our children for sure. And then she talks just about how the surgeon came in. She talked to the surgeon. The surgeon was very kind after she realized that she had offended Christine, and that she really was in the hospital for 10 days. And we won't go into a lot of the detail because it is heartbreaking. It literally, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I feel like, I love that she, like Cory said earlier, she's laying down all the things that happened that gave her the strength to finally leave.
Yeah.
And this is obviously a huge one for her that gave her the strength. And so she said on the 10th day in the hospital, they were finally able to take Truly home. And then at Christmas time, Truly got sick again. And Christine spent the entire day snuggled in bed with her after Cody told her she'd be just fine. Like, how can you spend all day being in bed with a sick child when you have responsibilities and chores? It's Christmas. Who's going to make this food? Who's going to clean up this stuff? I'm not doing it. I'm the father. I don't do that kind of stuff. And so I'm sure that put a little craw in Cody that she spent the day in bed with a sick child. And then I love that she talks about, confronts Cody later. And she said, I needed your help. I told Cody, referring to the moment that Aspen called in a panic. He said he'd been doing laundry at Robin's house. And I literally underlined the crap out of this. It says, you were going to let our daughter die because you were doing laundry for Robin. And really, if you really think of the impact of that sentence, like, this man literally had no shits to give about his 3-year-old little sick girl.
Or his
Because
freaked out teenage
or
daughter
his
who's
15,
trying to
16-year-old daughter.
take care of her, that he's not rushing over there going, hey, what's going on, and checking it out for himself, feeling comfortable for himself that this isn't worse than he thinks. He just is discounting it. No, she'll take care of it. My teenage daughter will take care of it.
Guess who was that teenage daughter? Me.
Yeah.
My dad never stepped in and helped. I was the one who did all of those things. So I completely can empathize with Aspen right here. And she said she told him that they felt like they were last on the list. She said Cody got so mad that he made the camera crew turn off the cameras because he knew just how bad this was sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that he had screwed up and hadn't been there when his child desperately needed him.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this man who started this show and professed for years to be this man who adored his family, loved his children, and then really when it comes right down to it, he can't show up for multiple of his children.
Because to tell the truth, he's never had to show up.
Right. So he can say all the pretty
words. The other wives take care of the children, the stuff. He's never had to show up in that realm of caretaker, or he's out working, he's doing priesthood stuff, he's not tending to the children. Mm-hmm. The wives would go talk to their sister wives or somebody else to take care of that. And it isn't until now, when the wives now have jobs just like him and are gone, that, well, he's not going to be bothered with taking care of mm-hmm. his own children. He's never had to.
Right. So then Christine is talking to Robin later, and I love that Christine is literally just laying this all out for us. This is why I left. Everyone's like, why don't you trust Robin? This is why I don't trust Robin. And she said if she had a conversation with Robin and she told her if Truly had died, she would have left Cody, because it didn't matter to him, because he was more focused on doing laundry at Robin's house than he was helping their daughter. She said Robin was beside herself, probably because it got called out, mm-hmm. not because she actually cared about Truly or Aspen. She said she was horrified at the idea of me leaving over the surgery. She was more horrified over her leaving than anything. That why would you even talk about leaving? Why would you talk about breaking your covenant? In your eternal covenant.
In your eternal soul. That's what she was the most worried about. She didn't care about the, she would probably have been saying, see, look, the Lord took care of things. She's better, Truly's better now. Why would you even talk about this?
Right.
So, because she's more worried about her kingdom in heaven, and
her planet
here
getting
on
taken
earth,
away because Christine can't
Christine
do what she's supposed
won't
to.
fulfill her covenants.
Right. Well, she says, Christine says this in here, breaking up over the death of a child doesn't make logical sense. Yeah, it does. But I think that Robin understood that in this situation, it did, because Cody wasn't there for Truly, and he wasn't there for Aspen, and he wasn't there for Christine. He wasn't there for, his oldest daughter, who was left to deal with an extremely scary situation. So then Robin went and told Cody, who then, this part infuriated me, because I have literally seen these exact conversations happen, not just in my family. I've seen them happen in other families. Again, Cody Brown is not the exception to this absolute, horrendous behavior of a human. So Cody went and got mad at Christine for talking to Robin about it, rather than apologizing for not being there when she needed him. This was the last time that Christine ever opened up to Robin, because she felt that she was betrayed by telling Cody something that she had said to Robin in confidences. Again, this is where I believe this is one of the things that Robin is talking about when she says, treat him like your best customer, confide in him, so that you are now Robin loves to tell Cody things like this because it creates an us versus them. Look, it's you and I. Look how honest I am with you. It's you and I against them.
Well, and it's also based on Robin feels like she is doing the most righteous thing. This is where Robin feels like she's justified. This is the most righteous thing that she can do because Christine was talking ill of her priesthood leader.
Mm-hmm.
She was criticizing her priesthood leader to another wife, and it felt like that she, as a wife who doesn't criticize her priesthood leader and honors him, she should tell on Christine, and then and so Cody was reprimanding her for that scenario, which is based in AUB teachings that you do not criticize, you do not talk against your priesthood leader, rather than taking any accountability of why she was upset, because she shouldn't be upset. She should keep sweet. And so it's their dogmas that they're fighting with, of how they should, how if they were a polygamous family within the AUB, how Christine should have behaved, how Robin should have behaved, but they're doing it in public and they have to put on a public persona. And Christine calling them out was talking poorly about her priesthood leaders. And that's a no-no. And on camera. That's a no-no in the AUB.
Right.
You can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. Those are, excommunication, excommunicado.
Yeah. Anna G says, Cody's such a coward. Christine channeled her shame over Truly into motivation to live more in her integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Cody gave himself permission to hide instead, and he has never stopped hiding. I totally agree. And thank you so much for this comment. I really appreciate this comment. Anna G says, regards in being nice to Robin, it has taken me a long time to stop trying to give people gifts that they haven't asked for. She clearly isn't interested in our regard. And that is so true. I have tried to give this woman grace in ways that that is a gift that she does not deserve and never asked for.
I give her zero grace.
I know.
So she is emulating a proper, righteous, polygamous wife to the T. This is exactly how she was trained, and she will never wake up from it because she absolutely believes in the dogmas that she was raised with. And when she leaves Cody, she'll marry back into the AUB because that is her. She will marry right back into her belief system to get her kingdom in heaven, even if that's, I'm leaving Cody, got to marry an old man to make sure that I'm going to get into heaven. That's what I'm going to do. So she'll get into heaven, into her celestial kingdom.
Yeah.
So she'll get it.
Catherine Perry says, yes, it's quality, not quantity. We're not living in a time of high childhood mortality rates. And it's true. We're not. Back in the day, yes, children passed frequently, and there were, so did the women though in childbirth. Someone says, I hope Aspen has been able to find an effective help in healing. She was so visibly devastated in that episode. I know. Now I'm like, I don't even know if I want to watch this episode after reading this book.
Yeah, she's a lovely human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Cory knows her way more personally than I do. Let's see.
Good big sister too. So
yeah. Let's see. From the first season, Marie says, from the first season, he said he wished he had met Robin before he had all those kids. So he just put them aside and they weren't important. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I didn't remember him saying that.
What he was saying there is he wishes he'd met Robin when she was a kid.
Well, she damn near was.
He was.
So Deborah says,
her first and he'd been fine. She'd have been 10 or 11 years old. He probably would have, within the AUB, had to wait until she was at least 14, 15.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to catch up. Let's see.
AUB has standards when it comes to how old the women are when they marry them.
Yeah. Somebody says,
am I loud?
Yeah. Yeah, Cody was very involved with Dayton and Saul's surgery. I didn't know Solomon had a surgery. So yeah,
he learned from his mistakes.
Yeah.
With his favorite wife.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to move on to the next Susan says, have you seen Madison's remarks on Robin and her lying and manipulating? Yes. And I
agree with her 100%. If her mouth is moving, she's lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with her 100%. And she doesn't even have a clue that she's lying. She thinks she's doing God's work. She speaks to him every day. So, and the only reason she would be telling a fib or a lie is because God told her to. So,
and then he'll bless her with $1 million mansion, multi-million-dollar
mansion and rooms to play hide and seek.
Yeah. Random old lady says, well, Robin wouldn't have wanted a poor Cody.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 27.
So I'm giving him 4 years. He should be good.
Nicole says for 4 more years. Solomon had his teeth fixed as a baby. Mouth rot is everyone's guess why he went under for teeth. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that's super important over your 3-year-old having full kidney failure, or I don't know how old Isabel was when she got her surgery. Jesus, this man's
your teeth rot out when you suck on the devil's tit.
I don't know if you can say that.
Oh,
you can say whatever you want. I don't even
that was in a book I read somewhere. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Chapter 27. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, we might have to wait for a comment or two to come on. Somebody says, Cory, you're killing me. Did you just hijack Maddie's Instagram? Okay. Chapter 27, just be nice to each other. This is, somebody says, oh my God. Yeah.
Sorry, edited that out.
I know.
Oh, it's alive. Dang it, Cody. Yeah, can you edit that out?
Somebody says, yes, no cussing was just said. Yeah. Thank you so much for that chat or that super chat.
Oh,
or super
DJ,
sticker. I don't know what they're called.
DJ tag.
Yeah, DJ tag. Thank you so much. Random old lady says she just spit out her coffee. Oh my gosh. Okay. Chapter 27, just be nice to each other. This whole chapter right here, I feel like explains exactly what we have been saying about the Browns from day one that we started talking about them, that everything they said on TV was a lie, but they didn't necessarily try to purposely, this is what they were, they had to act like this. They had to be like this. And this whole chapter describes exactly what we've been saying. That was hilarious. I spit my tea across the room. Oh my gosh. Marie Baker says, Robin's motivations are becoming more clear to me than ever. I always felt she was a big red flag coming into their family, but I didn't see the extent of her damaging nature. It is horrible. Like, yeah, I can't give her the grace that I've been wanting to give her anymore. I just can't. I can't in good conscience do that for her anymore. So this is about the commitment ceremony. And it says, Christine says, I was not excited about the commitment ceremony. Cody hadn't shown up on multiple occasions when she needed him. Why would she want to do a recommitment with this family? This commitment ceremony was I think the show was losing ratings, to be honest, and they had to come up with some bullshit storyline, and this was what they came up with.
Well, their therapist had recommended it.
Yeah.
So that's what I think she said. So,
well, it just says, we don't renew wedding vows because, we've already joined together for eternity. Yeah. Like, how much more can you renew at that point? Yeah, how much more can you commit?
I'll commit to another eternity. One eternity is not enough. I need 2 of them. So
can you imagine like how? Mel sounds like a people pleaser. Way too much. I have suffered people pleasing a good chunk of my life, and I seriously hate it so bad. It's one of the things that just frustrates the hell out of me about myself, and it's definitely something I'm working on. But the reason I try to give Robin grace is because I've been in her shoes. I understand why she's saying and doing the things that she's doing. And I didn't like myself, who I was at that point in my life. I wasn't a good person.
And you're hoping that, well, I'm not, I mean, you give grace hoping that some people will wake up from their trance within the cult, and the whole family has just went through hell, and she's still talking about the cult, right, and her belief system in her celestial kingdom. So,
well, and what she's been done wrong with. And here's where the breaker was for me. Honestly, 2 minutes into Sunday's episode, this is where I was losing my mind. But at the very end, when they get together and she says, God blessed us with this house. No, you wench. You stole money from people. You embezzled money from family businesses. You lied, cheat, and stole. That's what got that mansion for you, not God.
But she's justified. She believes in her heart of hearts and her soul that, and because of the way she was raised and in the community she was raised, that they're being blessed because of her favor, that they're favored of
She's
God.
a self-righteous, ignorant ass.
And
yeah. I can't be nice. I can't give her credit. I can't give her.
And well, and I was just saying that you might have been thinking, well, I woke up, other people woke up, maybe she will too. She won't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe she will. I think she's been very well indoctrinated. So
yeah,
she will suffer she won't suffer to the end. If with Cody, if she doesn't feel like she's going to get that celestial kingdom, she will leave him and then move into somebody else's family. That tornado will move from one family to the next, destruction in its path. But she will come in probably at the end to get that celestial kingdom.
Right.
Designation. So
right. Oh, this Sunday's episode just tipped me so far over the edge. I have just been fuming. Okay. So Christine's talking about what their commitment ceremony, what the family commitment thing was. And oh my gosh, she just talks about what crap it was to try to put this thing together. And she's like, if I had to do it myself, I'd just be nice to each other. End of story. Call it good. And she says that while they were trying to come up with this, they have to tiptoe around each other. They have to be careful to not, she says, talk it out whilst making sure we didn't hurt anyone's feelings or start any new fights. And this is why because they're constantly walking on eggshells, they're constantly trying not to hurt each other's feelings. And so this is why they came across as such liars, is because of this, because they're trying at all costs, even if that makes them blatant liars, to not try to hurt each other. Let's see. She said that they all had to sign this mission statement. The whole thing usually, as usual, was done by committee. And she still felt like she didn't matter in this committee. She remembers thinking that she didn't want to live that way. She said that they dedicated the entire season to this. Like, what a joke. I'm not even looking forward to this season. Oh, she said it's season 6, if you're keeping track. They filmed us discussing what was important to the family. None of it lined up with real life. She says it right there in the book. None of it lined up with real life. Cody said the ceremony would remind us that we were one family and that our houses in the cul-de-sac were one home, but that wasn't true. This is why most polygamous people that we know have not watched this show, because it doesn't line up with real life. And I love that she blatantly admits that right there. There's a couple of girls or a couple women on, I got to stop saying girls, I'm sorry. Couple women on TikTok who are current sister wives, and they have never watched this show. I love listening to their commentary. I don't know their names, but if you are on TikTok and you want to try to find them, they are current sister wives, and they each giving their point of view on it. And they're both like, this isn't real. This isn't real. They're independent polygamists. They don't belong to an actual group like the AUB. So their commentary is amazing. I love it. But they're both the same. They're like, this isn't real. So she talks about how the dressmaker didn't get any of their dresses done on time. Oh, thank you so much, Catherine Perry, for joining our membership. She talks about how the dressmaker didn't even want to be there. She was like, I'm out of here. She doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Again, they took a trip to San Francisco to buy dresses and then ended up making dresses anyways.
Thank you, Catherine Perry. She gifted.
Oh, is that what that is?
A membership. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. So Catherine became a member and then gifted a membership to YouTube is My Time Machine. Thank you so much. Let's see. She talks about how Cody got her another Clawda ring. Again, love bombing. Let's love bomb Christine so she doesn't say anything stupid during this commitment ceremony.
She has been throughout their relationship a great supporter, talks him up, does stuff like that. And now she's starting to not be so pleased about him. And so he's got to do something to kind of bring her back in line. So,
yeah,
got to get her that old
clatter
ring from the yard and bring it back and update it. Not gonna still not gonna put a diamond in it because that's Robin's diamond. So
yeah, well, Christine hasn't earned
that
the
diamond.
way Cody earned a ring from Robin. She said that she tried to think of what they would do for their mission statement, and she came up with, "We enjoy being together as a family because we have developed a safe, peaceful, and pleasant atmosphere where we love and respect one another." And she said they weren't there yet, but we hadn't been able to keep the promises that we had made to each other in therapy. And she could still see Robin or Cody's car at Robin's house. And so she was like, yeah, we're not even close to whatever this mission statement stands for. But she goes, in front of the cameras, oh my gosh, we made it. We're wonderful. We're the most wonderful family ever. She said Cody spent days stringing lights between all the cul-de-sac houses to signify connection. He said that if any of us misbehaved, he would kick us out of the family. Now, one of the things that I remember hearing, I've seen a slight video on this, is, again, I don't know because we haven't seen this episode, but some of the kids didn't want to sign the mission statement. And I thought I saw something about Robin wanting to kick them out of then you don't get to live at home anymore type thing. If you don't want to be a part of this and you don't want to sign this, then you don't get to live at home. And she wanted to kick them out. And so I'm not sure because I haven't seen those episodes, but I want to go back and watch that.
Again, the illusion of choice. If you want to be in the family, well, you have to take care of me. I'm still a child. But we didn't know that. You could be. We
didn't know that that our parents were like legally obligated to financially take care of us.
In fact, we thought we were legally obligated to. I thought we were legally obligated to help our parents
financially
and work-wise. So, which we did. So
yeah. She said that the wind immediately during the rehearsal, they put a stand with the placard that had the mission statement, immediately got blown over. And she was like, she flat out said out loud, "Is that an omen?" And yeah, I bet she's like, hell yeah, that was an omen. And then of course they're doing family pictures. We've seen little clips where Cody's yelling at the whole family saying, "Look down the lens, look at him." And how Christine snaps at him and is like, "You sound so mean about this." And he's like, "I've been doing pictures for hours. These kids just barely got here." Again, very typical of the way these men are with their children. Zero patience level.
Authoritarian.
Very authoritarian. Yeah.
You listen. So
yeah, the ceremony began and Cody said, "We embrace the spirit of abundance and affection." Well, Robin and Cody have abundance and affection, not everyone else. Janelle talked about making conscious and responsible choices. Robin cried. Of course she did. As she talked about embracing one another with a covenant of an eternal nature.
Speaking the religion, that's the dogma. You're making a covenant of an eternal nature within your wedding ceremony. And so she's trying to salt and pepper that
she's so fake
with her stuff.
So fake
with her belief system. So.
Right. And so they did this. They signed it all in front of friends, family, and of course the cameras, she says.
It's a guilt trip that Robin's doing to probably try to keep the other wives. She wants those wives there to keep adding to the kingdom.
Yeah. There's no accounting on the money that her and Cody take out of the family funds.
Exactly.
So yeah. She remembers thinking if she was going to stay in this situation, it needed to look a lot different. And then each one of the sister wives did a sand pouring thing where they poured like bullshit into a bottle and mixed their colors together. And in the middle of it, Christine thought, "This is ridiculous." She set down her container and thought that she set it down and thought to herself, what an amazing aha moment for Christine when she set her container down and thought to herself, "I'm not even going to be staying." Like how, like,
this is why I want to see this episode.
I know,
I want to see where that changes that
because you'll be able to
Changing
see her
her.
entire energy will immediately start
Yeah.
changing. She said
I'm
2 weeks
excited.
later, her little container of sand tipped over and broke. So that's the end of chapter 27. I'm going to see here. I'm going to get back here. Catherine Perry says, it kills me how materialistic some Christians are. What about it's easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven? Or is this not in the Mormon Bible? It is. We're very much taught that. I don't think it's in the Mormon book. I don't think it's in the Book of Mormon, but we were very much taught that growing up.
That's a Christian thing, that they feel like that you're building up a kingdom. And so it's not necessarily rich men within the AUB. The only rich men are the ones that make it to the top, because you're required to put all that you earn, all that you make into your united order, and those running it, you want to, if you get to the top. But there's another teaching within the AUB, or probably all the way back from Mormonism. Once you make it to the top, once you're into PSR position or council member positions or stuff like that, you can get your second anointing and your calling and election made sure.
And then you do
you do no wrong. You are bound for heaven. You are bound for the celestial kingdom. You can deny the Christ and get that taken away, but you basically have exactly what it's called: election, calling and election made sure. And so, and then the wealth of the earth is heaped upon you. So as rich men within the top tiers of the council, you can be very, very wealthy because you've already had your calling and election made sure. And usually it's off of the backs of the hard workers within your community. So,
well, and I don't know how many people know this, but the eye of the needle, when I was in Israel, they were explaining what that actually meant. And it's actually a small door that allows you into a city. And so it's called the eye of a needle, and the camels actually have to get down on their knees to be able to crawl through this door. And it's an actual door to come into the city. And so when we were doing our tour around Israel, we actually saw quite a few of these doors, and they're called the eye of the needle. And it's extremely hard for the camels to get through these doors.
But it's not impossible.
But it's not impossible. Yeah. And so they're packed with everything they're packing.
And the AUB leadership is the elect, and so they can be wealthy.
Right.
They are the ones that should be wealthy because they're doing the most good upon this earth and have the nicest of all things. So
yeah. Not Ladylike says, I'll bet the oldest girl cries while talking about religion because Robin uses manipulative tears about it. Absolutely. I see that absolutely with her girls.
It really is a manipulation way. If God is talking to you, or if you are feeling the calling to do something because God is talking to you, how can somebody disagree with you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way to get your way. Well, I want to do this because God is calling me. Well, I want to do this. Well, you don't get to do that, but God is calling me to do it. Oh, all right. Fine.
Yeah. Fine. YouTube is my time machine says Robin threatened to kick Maddie out for not signing it. Yeah, I thought I saw something like that. Yeah. Okay. So Blessed Canadian says righteous karma would be for those who feel entitled at the expense of others in this life and end up servants for those they have wronged in their kingdom. God, I hope so. I really do. Yeah.
I don't want Robin. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No. Well, I'll be in hell, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know servants.
Anna G says, I seriously think Robin had a fake cry because she was struggling to read. Probably. Peyton Solo says, what's the purple thing on the table behind you? Oh,
it's a new
It's a new, so our
plant.
daughter, I kill every single plant around here, and this is her plant, and she actually
He's
has a
coming to
small
take it.
apartment, and she wants to take it to her apartment. And I'm like, no, we have it in our videos. And so she went and bought us a new one. It's just a little baby, though. It's got to grow up a little bit. And we just haven't taken it out of the bag. So my sister Emily has her own channel, and she bought me this candle. It says 444 on it. And then our daughter bought us this new plant back there. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to, okay. So chapter 28, again, we're not going to get to chapter 29. I knew we probably weren't, because there's just so much in chapter 29 that we really want to go into. And I feel like that's an hour in and of itself.
I would rather be in hell than be in heaven and have Robin or Cody be servants. I was like, no, thank you. You're fired. So
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no, hell's a way better place for me.
Yeah.
So
and then DJ Tag says Robin's oldest daughter Aurora has panic attacks, and Cody has to carry her to bed and lays with her.
Yeah.
We don't even know what to say to that, because that just is wrong on so many levels. So, and Cory will say something so snarky that will basically accuse Cody of being a child molester. And so he's not going to say that.
I'm not saying that. You're the one saying that.
That's where my mind
potential goes. Fifth wife, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, it's not safe. It's not okay. It's not parental behavior, in my experience. Again, this is what they do. Well, this is what these men do to young girls like myself.
Here's the way I look at it. Cody, as much as I've seen of him so far, even now is still in dating mode. So and it's so hard to be, I don't know, when you're always in dating mode, you're creepy. And how can you be a loving, nurturing father if you're in dating mode?
If you're creepy.
So,
and that's creepy. That's completely creepy.
And yeah. And it's different behavior than he does to the rest of his kids.
And Lindsay P, I absolutely agree with what she says right here. It's learned behavior to keep her parents from fighting.
Yeah.
I would absolutely agree with you. And I know people get really upset when we talk. You can't talk about the kids when they're young like that, but that's when the manipulation, that's when they start to learn these types of behaviors. That's when the girls start to learn the type of behaviors, the boys, and so we're going to point it out when we see it in these kids, because it's learned behavior. Let's see. Random old lady says, putting my coffee down before Cory speaks. YouTube Time Machine says Cody definitely carried Aurora on camera up to bed. It was super weird. Yeah, that's not normal behavior. DJ Tech says, and creepy. I would not be surprised if he marries that daughter. Yeah. Okay. This is a great point. Sarcastic Cat Lady says, I think that she was like 17, around the same age Aspen was when Truly was sick. Great point. How come Aspen's so competent and capable and Aurora can't walk herself up the damn stairs? Like, why is that? That's parenting problem. That's, again, she's learning how to manipulate. She's watched her mom, she's learning it. And does it feel real to her? Absolutely. Am I trying to invalidate maybe some of the real feelings? No, she absolutely probably felt that way.
So,
but that's a learned behavior.
Gonna have my skin crawl when I'm watching him.
I know. Because Cory, so I swear at the TV a lot when we're watching Sister Wives. That's the part Cory will start swearing at the TV, because he'll be like, "You piece of you don't treat little girls that way." Yeah. I get mad swearing because I'm just like, the women's rights. I start going after that. But this one is where Cory's like, children's rights. This is where we get sick to our stomach. Peyton says, it looked like Robin's daughters were doing most of the moving in Sunday's episode. Robin wasn't carrying anything heavy. Truthfully, I think they just hired movers. They just made it. They had to do something to make it look like, that they gave half a shit about their stuff, but they hired movers. There's no way that they didn't. I don't think they really did anything. And I do agree with Rosa right here. Rosa's like, I mean, being at your stepdaughter's birth is also not normal. It's not normal. And not in this, even for polygamy does a lot of not normal things and a lot of real super creepy things. And this is even creepy for being creepy. So, let's see. And yet when Gwendolyn started to cry about Cody not coming to her wedding shower, he told her not to manipulate him with her tears. The double standard is unreal with these guys.
Well, because he doesn't look at his real daughter, well, which is probably a good thing, as potential.
He doesn't look at his biological daughters as potential wives,
which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 28, endure through the end. Kind of what we're doing with this book. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually a really great book. This is exactly what we were taught. This is exactly how it's stated. Endure to the end. Endure it. Like, life is not to be enjoyed. It's not to be like, you find your joy in the next life. This is the time for endurance and putting your good foot forward and making your best effort.
If you give up, if you stop enduring to the end, if you give up in any way from following the path that you're told that you're supposed to stay on and following the advice of your leaders, you are doomed to hell. So you have to endure to end. You have to listen to your leaders. You have to do what you're told, or you don't make it into heaven. And when the leaders change, they tell you different things.
Yeah.
It's a whole new set of rules. So
again, we can go right back to the AUB makes up the rules as they go along. It depends on who you are, depends on what your last name is. That's the new set of rules. So this one says she's never been particularly good at self-care. We are not, as women, taught that we should take time to replenish our souls so that we can take good care of everyone else, because you always adjust your own oxygen mask first. We were not taught that. That taking time for ourselves isn't immoral. We were taught taking time for yourself was very immoral. And we were taught that, you show up for everyone else. This is something I struggle with to this day. It's something Cory struggles with sometimes too, because we are both the oldest children. And so we have really struggled with this concept. I highlighted in here that we were taught, we believe that who you are as a person, if you don't know who you are as a person and set goals for yourself, you don't grow as a human being. We were taught that plural marriage would help us grow, but it was because of sacrifice. It's always sacrificing. It's always giving something more. It'll make you the best person ever because you'll go through so many hard times.
Giving everything that you have is a sacrifice. And if called upon, giving more, searching for more.
Right. And she said, it's terrible, this morality that they sell us. This is where so much of the self-righteousness comes in. So much of the, I can carry this burden, you can't, I'm better than you. There's a lot of superiority that comes along with this because we are literally taught to work ourselves to the bone. So she talks about, we can handle this life. We'll be fine. Don't worry about us. We're going to get through this. She goes, but that's great and all, but choosing to be happy may have simply been the best way for me to be resilient in an unhappy marriage, in other versions of enduring through the end. So she chose to be happy in an unhappy marriage. And this was kind of her version of enduring to the end. She says, looking back, maybe enduring to the end isn't the best way to think about your marriage or your life. And we don't know these things. I did not know these things. I did not know that you could have a happy marriage. This is your lot in life. This is what you're supposed to do.
Marriage is hard.
Marriage is hard.
Watching polygamous families and stuff, it's hard. It's hard growing up there and as a kid. And the parents didn't look like they had an easier job at it. They were always at odds with each other.
You had to look forward to, again, when my parents would say, we just want you to have a relationship like ours. And we're like, why? Do you hate us? Again, that's why, because we watched our parents struggle. We watched how unhappy they were. So then she starts going in about how she loves trashy Scottish novels. there was a time in the AUB where these like little romance novels were going around and they were causing a lot of harm. My mom had a huge box of them because their lives were so miserable. These women's lives were so miserable that they'd get themselves lost in these trashy romance novels, the Harlequin romances. And there was this big, huge part. Like, I was accused one time of, because I had a boyfriend, I fell in love with him. I was like doing all the romantic things. And so I wasn't considering the children that were promised to me. I was being selfish. I was being self-centered. And what was causing that selfishness and that self-centeredness were these romance novels, because I was getting the wrong view of what the world should be like, of what love should be like, about what romance should be like. I've never read one of these books ever in my entire life, but I was accused of this over the pulpit. A lot of girls were. I felt like it, I could really feel like it was like the Salem witch hunts. This is what it was. Women in the AUB, really, a bunch of them dove into these trashy romance novels. And what it was doing was creating an unrealistic value. Like, they were like, I want this in my life. And that's not realistic, especially when you can clearly see Cody doesn't have a romantic interest in Christine. What?
Yeah. Well, they weren't Scottish, and they were all old men. And there was no trashy romance novels
Right.
about old men sweeping 15-year-old girls off their feet. So if that had come about, then that would have been an appropriate book to read, endorsed by the AUB prophets. So.
Right. Yeah.
But it was giving them too much of a expectation that there's romance, and these two characters are similar in age. So
Yeah.
we don't want them marrying. We don't want these young girls marrying.
This 50-year-old is not going to come, this
Yeah.
39-year-old is not going to come sweep this 15-year-old off her feet, and it's going to be all romantic. We actually did a video on sexualizing, romanticizing, and spiritualized marriages. If you guys want to check that out, it's in our our videos that we created about what's the difference. And a lot of these women were reading these books, and it was romanticizing their relationships, and it was causing some rough times, because as we see Christine referring, Cory's getting lost in the comments. Is that funny? Because we see Christine is like looking at Robin like they have a romantic relationship, and she wants that now. So it's teaching these women to covet things that they cannot have, to want things that are not available for them.
Well, and I think one of the points that she made was she probably didn't even think Cody had it in him to be romantic until Robin came along. She's like, what? That's possible? But then realizing that there's a whole unspoken soulmate part of that. So
yeah. And so these were really causing people to have fantasies that were not conducive with the lifestyle of polygamy. Let's put it that way. Like, you just be grateful that your husband came home once a week or once every 2 weeks. You just be grateful that he is a man of God. That's what you be grateful for. Not that he comes in, sweeps you off his feet, and throws you on a bed somewhere. That's not what we have to be looking forward to. And so I thought it was interesting when I was accused of this at 15, and knowing full well, my mom did not back me up on this one, by the way, knowing that my mom had 2 boxes of these books in her closet currently, as I was getting raked over the coals for this thing that I didn't do. So I love how she goes into the romance novels on here, because it really became a thing in the AUB. And she talks about how she just wanted to have a bath for her birthday and sit in there and read a book. I'm like, that leads to so many bad things, Christine. You can't be doing that. So then I was waiting. I was going to
enduring to the end. She's enduring to the end. So
I was giving you a moment to say something. So then she says that her whole life changed upside down. Mary decides to give Robin the legal status. Again, we have covered this immensely on our channel. I don't know one other person who has ever divorced their wife legally in polygamy and married another wife to adopt her children. I don't know of that ever happening. I think Robin's so full of shit when she sat on the couch and she's like, oh yeah, Christine accused me of this and I've never even heard of that.
So you're thinking Robin made it up? There wasn't at least one person?
I can't think of anybody. Do you know somebody?
I don't, but Robin might have known somebody.
I know.
Or it was just a good speech to she'd already kind of told him that he had to win her children's love. So now I can legally adopt them. So
yeah.
Well, she's been doing the manipulation from the get-go.
But I love that Christine calls her out on it. And when she said, yeah, Robin had mentioned this, and I thought to myself, that's a plant.
It is.
Exactly. It is. Because my dad married a woman with 3 kids, and he did not legally marry her to adopt those children. So Robin has started the manipulation from the very beginning. And so she brings it up in here. And did you want to say something?
We're not talking about the beginning of their marriage. It's the beginning that Cody and Robin probably first met. Mm-hmm. The manipulation started right then and there. So
I would agree.
It's been going from the moment they met. It was like, hello, tornado. Hello, Cody. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And so then she talks about how she thought how Mary had given up that legal status. And I know Mary probably held that over these wives' heads a lot, that she was the legal wife. This was probably a really big step for Mary to take because it kind of dethroned her to some degree. And
it was a status as the first wife. Married,
and not that you're supposed to have that. It's not supposed to matter, but it does.
This is why Cody kept throwing a fit that he was melting down rings because she had too much control over him, all that fun stuff.
Right.
So
this is, and I don't care what they say. Oh no, Mary's not treated any better because she's the legal wife. Bullshit. That is not true. They are absolutely, this is a status thing for most of these women.
I wouldn't even call it a status. Sorry, it comes down to she has some legal rights.
Right.
That if she decided that she wanted to leave, she'd have some legal bounds to leave, to take what the whole family has put together. There is a bit of power being
right.
the first or the legal wife.
And people,
even in your family,
absolutely,
there is a legal wife that has power that she wields over.
My mom's been married to my dad 30 years longer than the legal wife has. And she wields that power over my mom all the time. And she knows it. And she knows that she has every legal right, that my mom has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're lying. This is one of the ways that the Browns blatantly lied on TV when they said, oh, the legal wife has no difference. Absolutely, she does. So then she talks about how, Mary got into the catfishing thing. Now, we don't know a lot about the catfishing thing. We saw some of the, some of the highlight reels. I know that's when my mom started paying a little bit more attention to Sister Wives. I think the catfishing thing, honestly, is what pulled the Sister Wives show out of the dumpster and brought it back to life, is the catfishing thing. I think Mary is the one who switched all that around. But I love how Christine puts in here that she has no doubt that the catfishing incident with Mary would never have happened if Cody hadn't completely withdrawn his affection from Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, I've been on the wrong side of Cody, and it's a very lonely place.
It is.
This is how these men manipulate and control, is withdraw affection. It is one of the most psychologically damaging things that you can do to another human being, is love bomb, pull it back, love bomb, pull it back, love bomb. They'll tell you that in psychological warfare. It's one of the most damaging things. And these men in polygamy, in my experience, most of them use this as a tool to control their families all the time.
And I'd almost argue that women within the AUB do the same thing too. I can see Robin doing it to Cody now.
Right.
So
you got to talk a little louder.
I can see Robin doing it to Cody now. So
yeah.
I can see just in this last episode, he's just wanting her love and affection, and she gives him a side hug. So,
oh my gosh, that side hug, Cory died laughing.
I'm like, yep, I'm so right in them getting divorced. So,
yeah. And then she goes in talking about Caleb and Maddie getting married, and how appreciative she was that Maddie came in and like helped Christine. She talks about an addiction to oxycodone in here. And for her, I believe that she believed this was very real. This is not necessarily I know that she believed that she was taking this but it lasted 2 weeks. That's not a true, it could have kept going longer.
21
absolutely.
days to make an addiction.
But for those people who are truly addicted, this feels a little bit like a slap in the face. But I'm grateful that she recognized what it was she was doing with the oxys, and that she pulled way back from that. And thank God for Maddie, that Maddie stepped in and was like, whatever it is you're doing, you need to stop, because you're not showing up for your family, and you need to start showing up for your family.
Well, what's interesting is the children recognize a change in Christine.
They don't recognize one in Cody.
Well, no, Cody doesn't recognize one in Christine.
Oh, true.
He's not even around to notice that there's a change, other than maybe he didn't get his favorite meal made when she came over, but she probably did make it for him. But it's the girls that are recognizing. They know Christine, the family, the kids know Christine, that there's been a change in her behavior or in what's going on, and ask for the old Christine back. Cody's probably absolutely clueless at any of till he reads the book, because
he just doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
He's not
invested in Robin at this point in time. So.
Yeah. And so I do appreciate that these kids are very in tune with, the behavioral differences. But this, to me, this doesn't feel like a true addiction. It feels like it scared her. It worried her. When you're in when you're in this world and this life, that every day is so hard, and every day is just like, God, do I have to do this again? It feels good to get away from it all. It does. And I don't blame her for that at all. I don't blame her for wanting to pop a pill and then go sit on the couch and have a stupid talk with Robin and watch her cry again. Like, how much of that can you actually endure? But again, this shows, what were you saying?
Well, she's pointing out the beginning stages of probably what an addiction
of what, like, she's in the beginning stages of what a full-blown addiction could have turned into. But
because I've definitely had relationships where it's like, oh, I just want on here, and you have those conversations. So
right. And so thank God that Christine has kept her, her relationship so close, so that people do see her. Because in this religion, it's very easy to not be seen. It's very easy to just disappear. It's very easy to be in the background. And so thank God that Christine kept her relationships so genuine that people saw her when she needed to be seen.
And it's interesting that it is the kids that see her. Because, we as the kids could live every day with these parents, so we could see that change. And
right. And so I love that she talks about how it was so easy to fall into this addiction 2 or 3 weeks of being in this, and 6 months to recover from it, how hard that is. I mean, I can't even imagine. But it feels like a little bit of a slap to somebody who is in a true addiction trying to break this, because some people have to be on this medication for months at a time. And so, and I don't think Christine meant it as a slap to people. This is just how naive most of us have been to what happens, because we just didn't go to medical doctors. We didn't get this kind of stuff. And so we're very naive to the processes of this. And so I think in her naivety in this is where it kind of comes off like, wait a second, you're not a real addict. But again, thank God she keeps her relationships so genuine. What did you say?
No, nothing.
You can't have jokes in your head. Everyone else wants to hear them.
No, an addiction is an addiction. So you can't say one person's not a real addict. You're addicted for 2 weeks. That's a good amount.
Yeah.
So
yeah. but
she
she's
just didn't go so deep in it. She cared enough to change. So that's amazing.
well, and that's what I was just going to say right here. She said, if Maddie hadn't have felt comfortable coming to me, if we had have had all those years together of sitting on the couch and talking about everything from lost teeth to first kisses, and I don't know if I would have been strong enough to get out of that if I hadn't already discovered that I loved myself and wanted to come back to me.
Yeah.
I mean, how wonderful is that for her that she has kept, again, those genuine relationships that people notice when something shifts, especially in a religion where it's so easy to be unseen. And then she talks about McKelty finding her love with Tony, that she was worried about McKelty not spending enough time to get to know Tony. And then she talks about how if she would have taken more time to get to know Cody, would in a more intimate and romantic way, maybe he would have figured out that he wasn't attracted to her, or maybe she would have figured out that she wasn't attracted to him, because it's not all about the guy's needs. And yet we forget that sometimes. So maybe she wouldn't have been attracted to him. She said that she's watching McKelty and Tony. She's watching Aspen and Mitch. She's watching Caleb and Maddie. And she says to her, it hit her hard how Cody was with Robin and Maddie was with Caleb. And now McKelty was with Tony, especially because McKelty found love so quickly. And she thought to herself, oh, these are soulmates. And Cody and I just don't have that.
Yep.
And so we're going to end the book on that one because we're now at chapter 29. And I just really want to go into so much of 29 that really I want to give it the time that it deserves. Yep. So let's go through. Do you see any questions on there that you wanted to grab?
We have to go back.
Okay. Sarcastic Cat Lady said, Janelle specifically said she trusted Mary with being the legal wife, but not Robin. Absolutely. And I can see why. And it almost doesn't matter like how much you voice these opinions, you know, hindsight's 2020 for all of us, but it's like you voice them and then you feel ridiculous. Like, am I being judgmental? Am I being, you know, Lindsay P says, first Robin said she'd never said that and that she didn't know anyone that had done that, and then changed her story to Cody's dad did that. Oh, yeah. I don't know if Cody's dad did that. If he married somebody legally. Did he marry Janelle's mom legally to adopt Janelle's?
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes
no sense because he was an older man when he became a polygamist.
I mean, at least make up a better lie, something along the lines of you had to get on her insurance or something. The fifth wife had insurance and you needed some insurance to get on the insurance.
That's why my dad married his legal wife. He needed to have medical insurance and she could provide that for him. Never had, I don't think he's ever been on her medical insurance even once.
He was. Yeah.
Was he? Sure, I love this quote, or I love this. YouTube is my time machine says, my husband didn't live up to those Harlequin novels either. That's hilarious.
So honestly, I got a Scottish kilt.
I know Cory has a handmade kilt from Scotland and plays the bagpipes, play very roughly, but he does play them, and he just looks amazingly sexy in his kilt. And yeah, I would definitely say we have,
because I knew everybody in the AUB is reading those Scottish.
You knew that?
No,
did you really?
I didn't have a clue. No, I was reading Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all those kind of books. The Odyssey. I was a nerd. Yeah. Shakespeare. So
yeah. Rosa says first wives do not give up their positions. Not a thing that she knows of. Yeah. Thank you, Rosa. I don't know of anyone who gives that position up either. But yeah, I would definitely say my first marriage was absolutely not any sort of romance, anything. But my second marriage was a little amazing for the first little bit. Our third marriage has been pretty.
Yeah. My second marriage was awesome.
Pretty stinking amazing. Our second marriage together has been amazing. Let's see. Janelle says, or YouTube Time Machine says, Janelle knew from the start that Robin would do what Robin would do with the legal marriage. I think Janelle is very.
Yeah. And they were all hoping that Cody that he would stay in charge and he wouldn't let they all had faith in their priesthood leader that he wouldn't
That he
let
cared more about his
Robin-
leadership than his priesthood.
Yeah, that he wouldn't let Robin take control. And then obviously they're like, well, yeah, he's a goner. So
Yep. And Marie says Christine was so right about Mary's catfishing incident. Mary was floundering and grasping at anything to find happiness. I mean, I can't even imagine. She's now an empty nester all by herself. I mean, the loneliness has to kick in. Catherine says, interesting that men do this. I heard in Cults to Consciousness and some of the Scientology podcasts that love bombing is a sign of a cult to draw people in, especially lonely people.
Absolutely.
And that's what these men do to I mean, I experienced, and I think it's one of the most cruel things you could do to another human being. And yet it's practiced pretty regularly in polygamy.
Well, so it's a great way to control somebody else and to get them to dump their whole soul, everything that they work for, everything that they've got into your livelihood, if you will.
Right.
So.
Right. Lindsay said
a multi-level marketing. So
it's very
multi-level marketing of love.
Yeah, that's very true. Lindsay said she knew Christine was developing a dependency. And I think that would have been a better way to word her experience. I agree with you. Yeah. Less offensive to someone that truly struggles with addiction. Yeah. Thank you for saying that, Lindsay. I totally agree with that. Marie says, God bless Maddie. She like virtually snatched her back jeans. From the abyss. You what?
Like Cody and Diesel jeans. That's pretty bad addiction. So go ahead. Sorry, say that again. The abyss.
Yeah. Let's see. Anna says, I think that the element gave more weight to Christine's story. I agree that it is not really an addiction, but I felt how close to the edge she was and how little resources and support. It felt harrowing. And I agree with you completely with that.
Yeah, it's just so easy to numb yourself from the hell of the life you're living in. So
yeah. Let's see. Oh, shoot. It says our sound is cutting out.
They've been basically saying, most people on here have been saying that the sound sounds great. They just need to restart their.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Sorry about that. I just noticed that.
We're all in the red. I'm over here. So hopefully you guys can hear me a lot better than you did last time. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, my mom's on here. Thanks, Mom. She says, thank you, Nicole. You're a gem. Oh, yeah. I didn't see that my mom climbed on. My mom's baby's coming into town tonight. My mom cannot even hardly stand herself. She's waiting very impatiently, I think, waiting for her to come in. So I'm the oldest, and then the youngest just turned 25, and she lives in North Carolina with my daughter. And she is coming into town tonight for the wedding this weekend. And so my mom came back up. My mom lives about 2 hours away from us. So she came back up to hang out with her. She's so excited. Let's see. Dang it. I hate it when our mics cut out because literally we do nothing different. Everything is the same. So I hate it when it does that.
They can hear me fine. So.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. DJ. Okay. Oh, come on. People are reporting they have to go out of the chat and come back in. Okay. Okay. Somebody says, Cory, I'll bet you live up to those novels. He really does. I won't even lie. Like he has to be reminded sometimes because he gets kind of like checked out. But when he checks back in, he's very romantic.
I don't know if I've ever read one of those novels, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Mine are more like our son's dumb pickup lines and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I've ever, I guess, yeah, I've read some.
Yeah.
So, or listened to them while Mel's read them. So
I haven't read any. What have I read?
50 Shades of something.
Oh, 50 Shades of Grey. I did read 50 Shades of Grey, but
I heard it. So
yeah. Okay, fine. I give you that one. I forgot I read that one. I had one of my best friends at the time was reading it, and she's like, you got to read this. Somebody says, Valerie Nelson says, I'm confused. Second marriage to each other. I must have missed something. Yeah, we actually got divorced in 2016. We got remarried in 2018. And we have been very I think, very happy since then.
Mhm.
So it's not been an easy.
We recommitted.
Yeah, we made an
we did
eternal commitment again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it, I'm so sorry about all the audio. I didn't even catch any of that. Hopefully it doesn't, like, hopefully when you watch the playback, if anyone's watching the playback, it'll be okay. Let's see. Okay, your audio is great, but the app is glitching. Simple close and reopen fixes the problem for people. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, I think that's it. All right. So yeah, 50 Shades Wowzer. Yeah, I don't know why I read it. I would normally never pick up a book like that, but my best friend at the time was reading it and she's like, Mel, you got to read this. So, okay, I think we're going to wrap.
I got to hear chapters of it that she'd read. So,
yeah. Oh, somebody says, wow, what changed in 2 years after divorce? How did it get better? I feel like we realized what we had. And it's one of those situations, at least for me, that it's like, you don't realize how great you have it until you don't. And then, even if it wasn't great, it was good. And it was something that was worth saving. So,
yeah. And with me, I was going through a depression. I was the heaviest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I started to care about myself again. And I'll wake up. It was a sad, depressing time for me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I started to appreciate everything in my life and started to live again. So,
yeah, I think we both we were both in really deep depression, but we are definitely going to do a video on that. It's just, that one's kind of a story that I'm like, if we do this, because the divorce was 100% it wasn't 100% my fault, but it was majority of my fault. And so, yeah, I feel like and honestly, we had, a step grandbaby, I guess, if you would say that. And that little guy was born right after we got back together. And I feel like, yeah, he just made us realize we want to be grandparents together. We want to live the rest of our lives out loving our family and our children and each other. So, yeah. So,
and then she can go to her first husband's celestial kingdom, and I'm going to hell. So after this life. So
no, because I got a release. I got an actual release from the priesthood saying that I could not have to be married to him anymore.
Well, you've got a prophet for a dad, so you're still going to make it in some sort of heaven, but I'll be down in hell. So,
well, you're going to be my pool boy. So yeah,
we'll see how the afterlife comes about. So
hopefully everybody enjoyed this live. We really enjoyed this part of the book today. Again, we'll do chapter 29 next week, but chapter 29, there's just so much in there. And, so I hope, and then we will be dropping our recap of what we thought about, this last episode. Again, it's made me hot. I'm just so angry about it. And then we'll be out for a wedding this weekend.
Yep.
And so we're hopefully, our kids will, have a wonderful day and the weather will cooperate because it's an inside-outside wedding. So
thanks, Nicole Aggie.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole Aggie. She says 230 likes with 654 watchers. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss them. Hype after the video is checked out the merch. Yeah, thank you so much. The hypes really do help us. YouTube has just now rolled out this new feature that you can hype a video up to 7 days old. So the video has to be 7 days or younger. And then it just tells YouTube this is a good video, push it out farther. So we appreciate that. In a couple of minutes, once our system regenerates this, I'll go ahead and put a time table of content on the summary, just video description. So if there's anything on here that you wanted to go back and see, you can do that.